Her death comes after her husband was pronounced dead last week. Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley clarifying recent comments she made about the Civil War. Haley faced widespread criticism after failing to mention slavery as a cause of the war during a town hall in New Hampshire. During a radio interview today, Haley said, of course, the Civil War was about slavery, adding that she was speaking more broadly on the importance of individual rights and liberties for all people. About 500,000 individual parts go into the 737 MAX jetliner, a single nut and bolt assembly, as Boeing sending out an advisory to carriers that bought the plane.
An unnamed foreign airline contacted Boeing after a mechanic found that a bolt in the vertical tail assembly of a 737 MAX was missing. The company has reached out to the purchasers of newer models, urging them to do visual inspections of their planes to ensure that the bolt that helps control the rudder is in place. Back at its factory in Seattle, Boeing says it found an additional plane with a nut that wasn't properly tightened. That aircraft had not yet been delivered to a customer. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Flanked by University of Idaho officials and Moscow police today, the house on King Street where 4 university students were brutally stabbed back in 2022 has been demolished. Though some students and family members objected to the home's removal, university official Jody Walker says some students have told the school they're relieved to see the house come down.
A next step toward healing, and seeing it come down, there's also a bit of relief in that as well. It's been a constant reminder of the horrific act there.
University officials confirm the site will remain empty, though discussions for future use will take place at a later time. An update to the demolition process of a former Burger King in West Dallas. Mayor Dan Devine posted on X that while the demolition permit is in, the contractor for the project is facing a 4 to 6 week delay for We Energies to disconnect the electrical power on the site at 106th and Greenfield. Devine says the power to the abandoned building is off, but feeders are still in place. City had filed a lawsuit against Burger King over the property back in October, with a deadline to begin demolition set for December 27th. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow is up 46 points, 37,702. S&P 500 is up 5, and the Nasdaq Composite is up 27. The Annex Wealth Management Year-End Tax Planning Guide is here. Download yours at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:04.
This report sponsored by Mr. Holland's Heating and Air Conditioning. Visit MrHollandsHeatingandAir.com.
'Tis the season for candy canes and stopped-up drains, for holiday wishes and electrical glitches, for gingerbread baking and furnaces breaking. Hi, this is Santa Steve. If you suddenly discover that your pipes, power, and heat are on the naughty list, call Mr. Holland's Home Services. Our proficient plumbers can locate and unplug the stoppage that's scrooging up your drain. Our efficient electricians can install a whole house backup generator to keep the tree twinkling when Jack Frost turns out the lights. And our holly jolly heating and air techs can fix your faulty furnace faster than you can re-gift a fruitcake. Don't let an outage, stoppage, or floppage grinch up your holiday plans. Trust Mr. Holland's Home Services to keep your water flowing, your heat blowing, and your power glowing. Call 866-992-1717 or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. If you want to keep your furnace, plumbing, and electric working in a winter wonderland, we can help.
If you can't get a good night's sleep, let me ask you, are you breathing well? Because if you're snoring or waking up each night with a stuffed up nose or frustrated with your CPAP mask, the root of your sleep problem lies in your breathing triangle. And if any one of those passages isn't working, you won't sleep well. And there's no mattress, pill, or other gimmick that can fix that. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. A recipe for a good night's sleep starts with an open airway. Now, there are devices that can help solve snoring or sleep apnea problems. If you walk into a sleep center, know you'll walk out with a CPAP. And you might find other options elsewhere. But the simple truth is, if your nose doesn't work properly, no device will help. Only at Advent will you find every effective snoring and sleep apnea solution, along with a world-class team that can get your nose working properly again.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Next up for the Milwaukee Bucks, the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow night to close out this holiday road trip. Last night, Milwaukee improved to 2-1 on this 4-gamer, beating the Nets 144-122. Giannis came within 2 assists of another triple-double, 32 points, 10 rebounds, 8 dishes. The Packers will ring in 2024 with a must-win game at Minnesota on New Year's Eve night. Green Bay must win the final 2 games to entertain any possibility of postseason play. The Vikings listed as a 2-point favorite in a game they need as well for playoff hopes. Last night on the ice, the Milwaukee Admirals topped the Chicago Wolves 7-4, and Fiserv Forum is an ice rink tonight. It's the Quick Trip Holiday Face-Off featuring Wisconsin taking on Air Force, also in the field, Northeastern and Minnesota Duluth. Bob Brainerd, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. No major delays to report early this afternoon. I-43 southbound, Brown Deer Road to downtown. There are going to be some ramp closures due to construction in the area. That's about a 14-minute stretch. Normally about 11 minutes. That's about a 14-minute drive for that stretch this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by Annex Wealth Management. It's time to know the difference, and Annex Wealth Management is ready to help with investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning as a fee-only fiduciary partner. AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast: rain this afternoon, 42 for the high. That rain will taper off tonight. We're looking at an overnight low of 37. Partly cloudy and 41 Friday, 40 on Saturday. A chance of snow showers Sunday with a high 36. Sunshine Monday with a high 35. Madison 33, Green Bay 39, Milwaukee 42 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 12:08.
Jeff Wagner's 25-year career at WTMJ comes to an end. For the rest of the year, dive back in the archives with us as we bring you the best of Jeff Wagner throughout his career. You're listening to the Best of Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Jeff Wagner, 620 WTMJ, obviously continuing coverage of the mass shooting in Las Vegas. President Trump scheduled to address the nation in about a half hour or so. We will bring that to you live as well as continuous updates. This is, at times like this, we use this forum, sort of an electronic town hall, your chance to offer your thoughts as to what's going on. I think this hits home for a lot of people, again, because many, many people travel to Las Vegas. You're familiar with the area. Perhaps you have friends or family members who are either living in Las Vegas or are visiting Las Vegas now. This raises a number of these continuing questions that we have as to, in a free society, I mean, how do you balance this out? I mean, apparently you have 64-year-old man, and these are the reports, no criminal history at all, living in a $400,000 home in a retirement community about an hour and a half outside of Las Vegas. No criminal history, no social media presence at all, no apparent political agenda, nothing like that, who 3 days ago checks into the Mandalay Bay Hotel, somehow brings in an arsenal of weapons. On our text line, somebody does raise an interesting point. Harry in Waukesha says, I'm surprised that housekeeping didn't see anything in the shooter's room, which is, of course, a very fair question. And we don't know, had the guy been there for 3 days and then just brought all this firepower up at once? Did he have the do not disturb sign on? I mean, I think these are, again, fair questions, and more details will emerge. But I want to use at least the first segment of the program as an electronic town hall, your opportunity to just, again, weigh in on any aspect of this story that you want. Let's start with Tom in the Wisconsin Dells. Tom, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Jeff.
What a horrible situation, huh?
Yeah, we run a venue here in Wisconsin Dells. It seats about 2,000 people, and it's interesting. We just had a band it's a larger band that's used to touring and doing a lot of larger venues than what we have, and so they're asking for, are you checking everybody? Are you putting them through the whole security thing? And we're here in Wisconsin Dells. We're in the middle of nowhere, but now you look at this and you think, okay, we need to step everything up that we have, and it's sad, but it is just the environment we live in.
Well, see, and I think what's so scary about this, Tom, is at a venue, at a facility, indoor or outdoor, at least there's some degree of control. I mean, I'm thinking about, for example, Alpine Valley. Sure. you have entrance points and exit points, and you have guards, and you have security detectors, metal detectors, and things like that people have to pass through. This was pretty much a street festival, but again, you had somebody from outside the venue who was able to get up high and was able to, again, in this case, shoot down. And from your perspective, it's got to be scary as heck. How do you guarantee people's safety?
Right. And we're also in the process of doing more outdoor events in Wisconsin Dells, and so this brings it to a whole new level on how you approach something like this.
Do you think this is and again, you want to talk about these situations as being isolated, but at the same time, it seems like we had the Pulse nightclub shooting, not that long ago. You seems like there's more and more things like this. Are you concerned that this is going to cause more people to perhaps rethink whether they're going to go to large events like this because of a fear of being out in the public?
Yeah, that is yet to be seen.
Yeah,
but thanks for all you do, Jeff. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for the call, Tom. And I'm sure this is it's an absolute nightmare scenario on so many different levels. Let's talk to Dave in Oak Creek. Dave, you're on 620 WTMJ. Good morning.
Very good morning. Just a little personal note. My kids got married on Saturday, and they left yesterday late afternoon for Vegas.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and they had put something on Facebook like late last night, early this morning, and I didn't have a chance, or I'm not on Facebook that much,
right?
And so I'm hearing this news, and I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
And finally, as we were I was waiting on hold, I did get a call from them letting me know that they're okay.
Wow. Where were they supposed to stay? Do you know?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't know. It's like one of those things where all I want to hear is your voice, and I want to hear you're okay.
Right.
Everything else is irrelevant.
Right.
Your weekly Bucks breakdown is back.
They want to win equally as bad as I do.
Bucks Weekly on WTMJ.
Now he joins a team where you have, as he has put it, the best player in the league.
And a new year brings new faces.
You'll see that I've gotten better year after year after year after year.
Get the latest news, analysis, and insight on your Milwaukee Bucks all season long. Bucks Weekly with Justin Garcia every Monday night at 8 on WTMJ. And catch the podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credits, so you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is, with complete confidence, stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Changing question. Are you keeping as much of your investment gains as possible? High taxes can erode returns quickly, so you need a tax-optimized portfolio. At Creative Planning, our money managers and specialists work together to make sure your portfolio and wealth are managed in a tax-efficient manner. It's what you keep that really matters. Why not give your wealth a second look? Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Griffin's Holiday Service Special is here. For just $179.95, enjoy an oil change, tire rotation, air filter, wiper blades, and a complete multi-point inspection. We'll even check your battery and make sure your car's heating is winter ready. Drive into any of our 5 Griffin dealerships and unwrap the gift of worry-free driving. 'Tis the season for happy savings and happy car. See Griffin for details.
Back with more of the best of Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
I mean, you got to imagine, Dave, that there are tens of thousands of people who are maybe hundreds of thousands of people who are in exactly that situation you're in this morning. All you know is your kids, your brother, whatever, is in Vegas, for a celebration. Wow. No, it's...
And, and they were in their Lyft ride, and they were diverted
Right.
around that because they said they realized something was going on. They didn't know what it was,
Right.
but so they drove right past or would have driven right through that area where that was occurring
Right.
to get to their hotel.
Yeah.
But just as a note, I understand, there's a lot of people that, like myself, that aren't really tuned into social media. And so if you got family out there, and just let them know that, give somebody a call, you know?
No, absolutely. No, thanks. We were, I will tell you, I said this earlier, I got married on Friday, and Las Vegas is one of my very favorite places. I considered we were going to go on a formal honeymoon like in February, but in one of the places we were, my wife and I were in Las Vegas late March, early April. We had a wonderful time. And actually, one of the things we thought about is, hey, maybe let's just go out there for a couple days or whatever. And ultimately just decided, no, we're going to stay closer to home. But we could have easily, we could have easily been there. And that's a situation I know that a lot of people are in. And I'm sure there are a lot of people in your situation, Dave, who just are waiting to hear, where were you? What's going on? Are you okay? So I think you're absolutely right. Let's talk to Jackie in Kenosha. Jackie, good morning. You're at 620 WTMJ.
Good morning. I just wanted to really a comment that I went to last April. I went to Louisville, Thunder over Louisville, which is the kickoff ceremony, the fireworks for the Kentucky Derby.
Okay.
And I stayed on the Indiana side of the river, actually. And I was with someone who had been there for many years. We went there. All of the high-rise hotels, even on the Indiana side, Homeland Security had them buckled down. You couldn't go in there if you weren't a guest. Mm-hmm. They checked everyone's IDs throughout the day, just along the river. And this was until midnight. People were there at 9 a.m. till midnight. Homeland Security was a huge presence. Bomb dogs, the whole bit. On the other side of Louisville. Where was Homeland Security for a venue this large?
Well, but I guess, part of the problem, Jackie, is you obviously, you were there right before the Kentucky Derby. So, when you have, if it's Indy 500, if it's a Kentucky Derby, it's the Super Bowl, whatever, you have that heightened security because you think, okay, these are going to be targets. Maybe somebody would disrupt the Kentucky Derby. This was a Sunday night in Las Vegas. I don't mean to downplay it. It was a big street festival, but they have these type of concerts all the time. This was sort of a routine thing. I guess the question becomes, is it practical to have that type of security that you were talking about 24/7 for, 365 days a year?
Well, this fireworks show is the kickoff, so this goes on for over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's like, where are we putting our money? Maybe we could just do with a little less Homeland Security at fireworks 2 weeks before the Kentucky Derby, and give the police officers the right to carry into these venues if they've got the ID.
Yeah. No, thanks for calling. Again, and again, I'm sure later on we're going to be talking about, guns and things like this and more guns, less guns, the answer. In this particular situation, having people armed in the venue in this situation wouldn't have made any difference. You had this guy perched on the 32nd floor, with heavy duty weaponry who was shooting down on this. And it wasn't until the police were apparently able to kick in the door and confront him that he ended up taking his own life in what turns out to be a mass murder suicide, which, I don't mean to be flip about this, but, just if you're going to kill yourself, kill yourself. Why do you decide to try to kill as many other people as possible? All right, let's take a quick break. We will talk about specific aspects of this as we move through the morning. But right now, any of your thoughts? Do you have friends or family in Las Vegas? Have you heard from them? This is Jeff Wagner, 620 WTMJ.
WTMJ, Steve Scafidi here. We're all excited for a new year. However, you may have some anxiety about your finances. The good news, I'm hosting another look-ahead webinar with our partners at Annex Wealth Management on January 4th at 1 p.m. We'll not only walk through the challenges and fluctuating market projections of the next year, but answer your questions about your finances. Registration for the webinar is open now. Just text WEB to the Old National Bank talk and text line 855-616-1620 to sign up. It's the Annex Wealth Management 2024 Market Outlook on January 4th. Sign up today.
Before you go looking for an area rug that you'll have to settle for because you think that the one you really want will be out of your budget, come to Design Exchange, where you'll find a formidable selection of Oriental, Persian, and other wool area rug choices at 25 to 70% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
If you're trying to find really good, high-end, distinctive furniture, the kind they just don't make anymore, then come to Design Exchange. But you better get here quickly, because the best furniture we take in on consignment doesn't usually last long. It may be vintage, it may have once been out of your range, but now you'll find it's priced right. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value.
Design Exchange.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
We asked people why they sold their homes to Grandview Homes instead of using a real estate agent.
We looked at a few businesses that purchase homes, and Grandview seemed to be the one that had it together. Not only did we receive a fair offer, but we were able to take as much time as we needed and could leave the house a mess.
Whether you have a hard-to-sell home, want a stress-free sale, or simply need to sell your home fast, Grandview Homes is the name you know and the name you can trust. Visit GrandviewHomes.com to discover the easiest and fastest way to sell a home.
Hi, Jeff. This is Joe Shalfa. Congratulations for your well-deserved retirement. Thank you for being that rational, warm, and comfortable voice from Milwaukee for all these years. Not only were you a great colleague, but also one of the kindest, most generous people I've ever met. I hope there are many holes in ones for you as you enjoy this next chapter.
There we go. Welcome back. So very glad to have you with us. Okay, drag shows. Does everybody know what a drag show is? Drag shows are where you have performers who dress up as members of the opposite sex and perform. I have been to drag shows, some very entertaining ones. Key West, Las Vegas. And, typically you'll have it's male performers who dress up as female singers. Barbra Streisand, notably you'll have people who do Barbra Streisand. Liza Minnelli, Bette Midler, the list goes on. But it's very, very interesting, and it's guys that are dressed up like these characters, and I will acknowledge there's a high degree of entertainment with this. I mean, it's the ones that I have been to, and I am not a regular attendee at this, but like I say, I've been to one in Las Vegas, I've been to one in Key West, and it's entertaining. Now, one of the things you see, these aren't strip shows. It's nothing like that. They usually involve either the people singing or lip syncing and dancing. The performers are dressed in drag, which is, an exaggerated and highly stylized impersonation of the opposite sex. Okay, so that's what these typical shows are. And I have no problem with people attending these, particularly adults. All right, here's where it gets interesting. Madison East High School was planning on staging a student-organized drag show. It was originally scheduled for next week. It has now been canceled. Now, the school says it's been canceled because of safety concerns. In addition to an abundance of supportive messages regarding the event, the Madison School District says they've also received several messages that have raised a number of safety concerns for this student-led event. And the district spokesperson says, without question, the safety of all our students, staff, and families must be our top priority. Therefore, due to these recent safety concerns, we have decided to postpone this event to a later date. Now, I don't know what safety concerns that they're talking about, and if there were crazies out there that were making threats and things like that, well, there's no place for that. And if there were actual threats and things like that, you bring law enforcement in. But that kind of misses what I think is the conversation that you need to have, which is this type of show and is this type of performance, is it appropriate to be staged at a high school? Now, something that might be appropriate to go see in Las Vegas or go see in downtown Milwaukee or go see in Key West and things like that with professional performers, that's one thing. It's another thing to say, okay, is this appropriate for a high school? Just like when you're staging, I think, any sort of performance, whether it's a play or whatever, you're always going to be asking the question, okay, is this subject matter appropriate? And I guess the question becomes, is it appropriate to have high school students dressed in drag performing, I don't know, various skits and things like that? Or is that something that is better if it's going to be done outside the auspices of the high school, or, done, later on when people become adults? I guess my take on this, and again, I don't think the drag shows or the strip shows or anything like that. Nevertheless, I do find myself wondering whether this is subject matter which is appropriate for a student show at a high school. Is it age appropriate? And I will tell you, it's interesting because we're all over the map. Jeff, it's arts and entertainment, no different than a musical. It lets those students express themselves in a safe environment. Well, okay, is it, I guess, but are there limits? And would you argue, for example, that a burlesque show or a strip show would be appropriate at the high school? Now, I appreciate that drag it's not a strip show. It's a different sort of thing. But there's lots of stuff that's arts and entertainment. Would we argue for a burlesque show?
More of the best of Jeff Wagner after the break.
Quality Heating. You wake up, it's cold in your house. You're having a furnace problem. You gotta call someone. See the man in the red van, because with over 20 service techs, each with over 20 years experience, you can count on your job being fixed right away. In a heating emergency, you don't want some new guy fumbling around trying to diagnose the problem. For emergency furnace repair, see the man in the red van.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality Heating, Quality Heating.
Once you've lived with it, you know there's no comparison. Hydronic heating is the best in comfort. And when it comes to hydronic heating, the man in the red van can do it all. With a 96% efficiency modulating heat boiler, slant fin wall-mounted radiating heat, cast iron radiators, or how about in-floor heat that we can even lay in below your new driveway on your new home build, so you never have to shovel. Now we're talking.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality Heating, Quality Heating.
At Gruber Law Offices, we take great pride in helping those who have trusted us after a serious accident. Our team has the knowledge, resources, and experience to get you the results you deserve. Don't wait to get the help you need. Make the right call. Call Gruber Law Offices today. Proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
Hey, Sandy Max here. Have you heard about my friends at Three Pillars? They're located on 300 gorgeous nature-soaked acres in Dousman, with over 10 miles of walking and biking trails crisscrossing the Bark River. This serene setting is also home to Wisconsin's top-rated continuing care retirement community. Continuing care means every facet: independent living, assisted living, skilled nursing, and rehab. So whatever you need, Three Pillars is the best, and you deserve the best in your retirement. Learn more at threepillars.org.
Back with more of the best of Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Jeff, I think it's completely fine as long as the performance has been vetted for appropriate material. Dressing in drag is a form of acting and performance art. You can have explicit drag shows or family-friendly ones, same as any performance. People who are offended need to remember that in early theater, like Shakespeare, men routinely dressed as women. Jeff, I think drag shows are fine. They're entertaining and enjoyable, and the content needs to be tailored to the group who is viewing the show. Jeff, I think it's not a good idea to have drag shows in high school. At the same time, though, I'm sure students have seen much worse on TV and can probably opt out of attending or watching the show. But overall, I think I would say no to the idea. Let's see. Jeff, if it's extracurricular and not during class time, I say rock on school drag shows. They don't involve nudity or sex. I recommend someone does the song Cuban Pete with maracas and goes chick chicky boom. For goodness sakes, why does a high school even consider having a drag show for their students? Is it educational to know that it might be entertained? It might be entertaining, but it is. I think it's inappropriate for high school, especially a public school that uses our taxes to operate. Jeff, why are some school systems so obsessed with LGBTQ? Well, I think they want to create a welcoming environment. The question is that what this does? Let's talk to, let's start with Chris in Elm Grove. Chris, you're first. Good afternoon.
My thing is, personally, I have no problem with drag shows. However, I think this is a prime example of the hypocrisy we deal with in our society today. When the left, says something's offensive. I don't know if you remember, it's like a year or two ago. It's either Whitefish Bay or Sherwood. They wanted to put on a high school play of To Kill a Mockingbird, and there was all this drama because they used the N-word in that play. So I think they did not go through with it. Now, obviously, this is going to offend some people as well, having a drag show. So since there's a possibility of offending somebody like they used with that, I don't think it should happen.
Yeah. No, Chris, thanks for that. Interesting point. You are correct, and this is this sort of balancing that we have here. You're exactly right. And I believe it was Whitefish Bay. I'm willing to be corrected. Or Shorewood. It was Shorewood. I'm sorry. I don't mean to pick on Whitefish Bay. It was Shorewood, where they were going to perform To Kill a Mockingbird, and you had this, at least certain groups that were outraged about this because of some of the language and the nature of the nature of the Mockingbird story. And so the public performances, I think, ended up getting canceled, and they had it on a very limited basis. But that's what we wrestle with, which is what is appropriate and what is inappropriate. Jeff, my problem is deciding that this is called and dedicated only to drag. If a kid wants to dress in drag and perform in a musical or a talent show, I would support this. Jeff, newsflash, this stuff is going on in grade schools all the way down to first grade and kindergarten with the knowledge of school boards and led by class teachers. But we don't dare to bring up biblical passages against men dressing as women or vice versa. Let's talk to Bill. Bill, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Jeff, I have a question for you first. Is this the Madison University High School, the Madison High School on the northwest side of Milwaukee?
No, this is Madison East in Madison.
Okay, well, I'm the former band director, music director, math teacher over at the other school on the northwest side of Milwaukee, and I heard all this stuff, and I'm going to, I will extricate myself from that and let the Madison boys do what they want to do.
Why do you, I take it from your tone that you think this is inappropriate for high school.
Sir, I'm a music teacher. I am a retired U.S. Navy band music teacher. Mm-hmm. I never had any kind of confrontation or situation like this. It's kind of ridiculous, but hey, they're in Madison. Let them go to Madison. Let them do it in Madison. That's just fine. Leave me out of it.
Okay, Bill. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. I guess I'm a little. I would have been curious to know, again, from the perspective of a music teacher and stuff. What specifically do you find it to be inappropriate? Is it inappropriate because of the content? Is it age inappropriate? Whatever. I mean, again, my take on this, and feel free to disagree. This, and I read some of the objections where people were saying, well, this is an effort by the school system to groom kids and to teach kids that the cross-dressing stuff is quote unquote normal, whatever you want to define normal as being. I don't think it's. I don't see it as that. I mean, for example, as I told you, I've been to. I've paid money, bought tickets to see some of these, people perform at some of these high-end drag shows. I don't walk out of those drag shows thinking, okay, gee, what I want to do is I want to dress up like Barbra Streisand and strut around the stage. And it's probably, my wife is happy to hear about that. So that's, I don't know about the grooming thing. I have trouble. I don't necessarily see that. I do think, though, it's always fair to have a comment about, again, the whole perspective of age appropriate. And that's where I look at it. Just like I wonder whether clearly there would be some plays that I would argue are age appropriate to be staged in the high schools. I wonder whether there's a need to have the drag show that's there. Well, now, of course, if you've got parents who want to take their kids to see some entertainment like that, and it's on their own time, okay, nobody's going to have any objection to that. I mean, I think that's a decision they make. The issue, though, becomes whether or not you need to give something like this the imprimatur of the school system. Now, backing up, if people were really making threats or there were security concerns, that's way beyond the pale. That's not what it's deserved at. Nevertheless, when did we get to this stage where it comes to, especially when it comes to education, whether it's public school education or private school education, where do we get to the stage where we always figure we have to push the envelope with these different sort of school-sanctioned events? And maybe if we concentrated more on teaching some of the basics like reading, writing, and math, maybe things would be better, and we left the drag shows to, left them to the independent entertainment that's going on around the Madison area. In any event, they're staging the drag show. That is going to occur. We just don't know when the date of it is. Are drag shows grooming? No, I don't think it's that. Are drag shows strip shows? No, it's not that. Does it normalize this particular, aspect of the LGBTQ community? I don't know that it normalizes that. I just question whether or not this entertainment, while clearly appropriate in some contexts, is appropriate for a high school.
This is the Best of Jeff Wagner, highlighting the best moments of a 25-year career on WTMJ.
Out with the old. Ken Michaels Furniture and Milwaukee Mattress is having a year-end clearance sale. Save 20% on floor model mattresses. Shop discounted items at 50 to 70% off. Get closeout deals on area rugs. All furniture on the floor is marked down. If you want spectacular savings on the best furniture you'll ever own, stop in today at Ken Michaels Furniture on Highway 100 in Greenfield, Capitol Drive in Brookfield, or our downtown factory showroom. Year-end clearance sale ends soon. Do you love the simplicity and enduring quality of Scandinavian design? Then the year-end clearance sale at Ken Michaels Furniture is for you. Inspired by tradition and built to last, Fjords brings the best of modern Norwegian furniture design to your home. Save up to 20% on these ergonomic recliners engineered with comfort in mind. Available with manual or power options. Stop in today at Ken Michaels Furniture on Capitol Drive in Brookfield, Highway 100 in Greenfield, or our downtown factory showroom. Sale ends soon.
So I came to Advent because I was experiencing recurrent sinus infections. As a new mom, it was really kind of difficult.
Many of our patients complain of sinus infections. The headaches, fatigue, and nasal stuffiness have a profound effect on their lives.
I just felt like your sickness starts affecting your energy level and, the things that you really enjoy doing. That really was a breaking point for me.
So Molly came to Advent. Abnormally tight sinuses and swollen turbinates led to simple breathing triangle solutions that ended up taking about 20 minutes in office. And very soon thereafter, she was breathing freely.
I'm just in awe at the amount of air that that I'm able to breathe in and out each night. And I haven't had a sinus infection since the procedure.
I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. When you breathe well, you do live better.
Results may vary.
Hey, there's free pizza today at the famous Mind Chef restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here. This is the best Thursday dining value anywhere. When you buy one pizza today, you get a second pizza free. Seriously, F-R-E-E free. Buy one pizza, get one free. Buy 5 pizzas, get 5 free. Buy 10, get 10 free pizzas. Bring in pizza today for your holiday office or company party. Half your pizzas are free, saving your company a lot of money. Coaches, bring in your team for free pizza today at the Mine Shaft. It's super affordable team bonding. Your players will love that world-class game room. The Wednesday and Friday fish fry is all you can eat, just $9.99. That's a crazy low price. Big fun, Big value, it's the Mine Shaft. Happy hours 2 till 5 today with half-price beers, cocktails, and appetizers. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford, right off the interstate in Oshkosh. The holiday decorations are beautiful. So don't cook and clean today. Walk into the Mine Shaft. Enjoy your free Thursday pizza. It's the Mine Shaft.
A 25-year radio career coming to an end. You're listening to the best of Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome to the show. My first opportunity to discuss what is going on in Kenosha and in Madison and in other places across the country as a result of what happened on Sunday, the shooting of Jacob Blake. All right, if I had to summarize it at the beginning, here is the deal. All right, what is happening now does not help. What is happening now does not help. Now, I think that there are a lot of questions that can fairly be asked about the incident and what caused a police officer to fire into this man's back on multiple occasions. All right? Just like the George Floyd situation resulted in charges. I don't want to prejudge this, but it is very difficult for me to understand how that encounter could have risen to the level to give a police officer the justification for shooting somebody in the back on multiple occasions. And I think I am confident that people will be held accountable. Now, I don't know. Nobody is suggesting that there was a firearm in that car. If he was reaching for, a loaded assault rifle or something, maybe, and I say maybe, that would be justified. But so far, there's no evidence to suggest that. And I think this is going to turn out to ultimately, unlike perhaps some other instances that have caused protests, I think that it's very difficult for me to understand how this is going to come back to be a justifiable shooting. But that will play out in time. The matter is under investigation. The police officers are suspended for the moment. And the sooner we're able to get to the bottom of this, the better. If there are to be charges brought, the sooner the better. Having said all that, what is happening now in the aftermath of the Jacob Blake shooting is inexcusable and does not help the cause. If you have not been following it, there is wholesale rioting, arson, and destruction going on, first of all in Kenosha, but also in Madison by a relatively small group of people. We're not talking about thousands, we're talking about hundreds. But if you haven't reviewed this, it's, okay, windows at the state capitol vandalized again. People taking to the streets, breaking windows. A number of buildings in Kenosha have been set on fire. Looking at some of the stories, there's a guy who runs a thrift store on 60th Street in Kenosha, set on fire between 10 o'clock and 2:30 a.m. last night. Buildings sustained thousands of dollars of damage, much of which isn't going to be covered by insurance. Cooper's Tavern, that was the bar in Madison where the Madison riots kind of started last June. All right, well, that place was vandalized again, all of its front windows smashed in. Kenosha businesses, again, along 60th Street and 13th Avenue, a furniture store was burned down. You had the state building for the Department of Corrections that was burned to the ground. The list goes on and on. You have a number of other businesses which have had the windows broken out. There has been widespread looting. You've seen Molotov cocktails thrown at various buildings, both in Kenosha and in Madison. You've had mom and pop businesses that have nothing at all to do with this police shooting. They have been targeted for looting or for burning. You have a situation which is just out of control. You have the car lot in Kenosha where on multiple occasions people have gone and set fire to that. People setting fire to public vehicles like garbage trucks and things like that. Just a complete and total, out of control, in my opinion, response for people who are, I think, not intending to engage in legitimate protest, but rather to engage in lawlessness, vandalism, and in some cases, looting. And my point is, by doing this, the people that participate in this, they hurt the cause. Because I believe there's a lot of people, that look at, for example, we only have like the 20-second video, but you look at this and you say, all right, there's no justification, or it's tough to imagine what the justification could be for this police conduct. Fine, we need to bring the police officer. If he's in the wrong, we need him to bring him to justice. We need to get this investigation out there. But I think you turn off a lot of people who would be otherwise sympathetic when you say, all right, we're just going to allow the mob to go destroy things that have nothing to do, again, destroying people's businesses, destroying these mom and pop businesses, breaking windows, whether it's on State Street or in Kenosha, that accomplishes nothing other than to just act out in a moment of rage. And then you see some commentators that are trying to, again, just sort of justify this. I was reading one story today. Somebody writes for one of the local newspapers saying, for those worried about property damage, your attention is in the wrong place. Windows, buildings, and cars can all be fixed or replaced, which is easy to say if it's not your house that's being vandalized, if it's not your building that's being looted, if it's not your car that is being set on fire. Writer I'm looking at in the local newspaper says, I'm worried about the trauma that people endure when they are subjected to seeing people shot in front of them, which is a fair point. Yes, you know what went on to lead to this, and yes, is it unjustified? Well, I think you could probably make that conclusion. But that does not, at least in my opinion, justify all this other stuff. And to simply say windows, buildings, and cars can all be fixed or replaced. Well, tell that to the local business guy who's trying to make a life for himself, trying to provide jobs for the community, trying to survive. I want to have a discussion about the violence, because there's no way, at least based on what we know, that anybody can, at least at this point in time, defend the shooting the other day. All right? And I don't think anybody should be trying to defend that, because unless there's something that most of us just can't imagine, I think it's going to turn out to be an unjustified shooting. But this idea that, okay, well, this then justifies the looting, the burning, the arson, I just don't buy it. And my belief is, every time you see pictures of that, the general response is, you know, I don't want to be part of this group. I understand people are upset about this, but, you know, this is just an excuse to engage in violence. And from the perspective of whether it's businesses in Kenosha or, in particular, businesses in Madison that continue, it's the same sort of businesses that continue to be vandalized. At some point in time, you're going to have these businesses that say, enough is enough, we're pulling out. And how does that help anybody? This is Jeff Wagner.
This is the Best of Jeff Wagner, highlighting the best moments of a 25-year career on WTMJ.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Join me every Saturday at noon for Experience Wisconsin, where we check in with communities across the state for the best and brightest spots around Wisconsin. This week, going to be a great show. We are joined by Sarah Neubauer from Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Lots of fun stuff happening there. And Sunburst, Rob Friedel and Katie Wood from Sunburst. It's Experience Wisconsin, Saturday at noon, here on 620 WTMJ.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days. Heck, a lot of big banks issue pre-approval letters using soft credit pulls instead of real credit reports. Do you really want to compete in today's still low inventory market with a soft credit pull and a pre-approval that's silent on 2 of the 3 critical elements of a mortgage approval? A rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet not only verifies your credit with a real credit report, we also verify your income and down payment, and then issue a letter with a $2,000 guarantee to back it up. And now, AccuNet is issuing property-specific pre-approvals that often come with this sweet phrase: no appraisal required. That's right, AccuNet may be able to issue your pre-approval at or above the seller's asking price without needing an appraisal. Today's home market is still a metaphorical knife fight. Your bank is offering you, well, a pocket knife. AccuNet is Crocodile Dundee. Now that's a knife, mate. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
The #1 selling brand of chainsaws isn't sold at the big box stores. Find STIHL tools only at 10,000 locally owned STIHL dealers. Real STIHL. Find yours at stihlusa.com.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credit, so you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is, with complete confidence, stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. A 25-year radio career coming to an end. You're listening to the best of Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome to the show. My first opportunity to discuss what is going on in Kenosha and in Madison and in other places across the country as a result of what happened on Sunday, the shooting of Jacob Blake. All right, if I had to summarize it at the beginning, here is the deal. All right, what is happening now does not help. What is happening now does not help. Now, I think that there are a lot of questions that can fairly be asked about the incident and what caused a police officer to fire into this man's back on multiple occasions. All right? Just like the George Floyd situation resulted in charges. I don't want to prejudge this, but it is very difficult for me to understand how that encounter could have risen to the level to give a police officer the justification for shooting somebody in the back on multiple occasions. And I think I am confident that people will be held accountable. Now, I don't know. Nobody is suggesting that there was a firearm in that car if he was reaching for, a loaded assault rifle or something. Maybe, and I say maybe, that would be justified, but so far there's no evidence to suggest that, and I think this is going to turn out to ultimately, unlike perhaps some other instances that have caused protests, I think that it's very difficult for me to understand how this is going to come back to be a justifiable shooting. But that will play out in time. The matter is under investigation. The police officers are suspended for the moment, and the sooner we're able to get to the bottom of this, the better. If there are to be charges brought, the sooner the better. Having said all that, what is happening now in the aftermath of the Jacob Blake shooting is inexcusable and does not help the cause. If you have not been following it, there is wholesale rioting, arson, and destruction going on, first of all in Kenosha, but also in Madison by a relatively small group of people. We're not talking about thousands, we're talking about hundreds. But if you haven't reviewed this, it's, okay, windows at the state capitol vandalized again. People taking to the streets, breaking windows. A number of buildings in Kenosha have been set on fire. Looking at some of the stories, there's a guy who runs a thrift store on 60th Street in Kenosha, set on fire between 10 o'clock and 2:30 a.m. last night. Buildings sustained thousands of dollars of damage, much of which isn't going to be covered by insurance. Cooper's Tavern, that was the bar in Madison where the Madison riots kind of started last June. All right, well, that place was vandalized again, all of its front windows smashed in. Kenosha businesses, again, along 60th Street and 13th Avenue, a furniture store was burned down. You had the state building for the Department of Corrections that was burned to the ground. The list goes on and on. You have a number of other businesses which have had the windows broken out. There has been widespread looting. You've seen Molotov cocktails thrown at various buildings, both in Kenosha and in Madison. You've had mom and pop businesses that have nothing at all to do with this police shooting. They have been targeted for looting or for burning. You have a situation which is just out of control. You have the car lot in Kenosha where on multiple occasions people have gone and set fire to that. People setting fire to public vehicles like garbage trucks and things like that. Just a complete and total, out of control, in my opinion, response for people who are, I think, not intending to engage in legitimate protest, but rather to engage in lawlessness, vandalism, and in some cases, looting. And my point is, by doing this, the people that participate in this, they hurt the cause. Because I believe there's a lot of people that look at, for example, we only have like the 20-second video, but you look at this and you say, all right, there's no justification, or it's tough to imagine what the justification could be for this police conduct. Fine, we need to bring the police officer, if he's in the wrong, we need him to bring him to justice. We need to get this investigation out there. But I think you turn off a lot of people who would be otherwise sympathetic when you say, all right, we're just going to allow the mob to go destroy things that have nothing to do, again, destroying people's businesses, destroying these mom and pop businesses, breaking windows, whether it's on State Street or in Kenosha, that accomplishes nothing other than to just act out in a moment of rage. And then you see some commentators that are trying to, again, just sort of justify this. I was reading one story today. Somebody writes for one of the local newspapers saying, for those worried about property damage, your attention is in the wrong place. Windows, buildings, and cars can all be fixed or replaced, which is easy to say if it's not your house that's being vandalized, if it's not your building that's being looted, if it's not your car that is being set on fire. Writer I'm looking at in a local newspaper says, I'm worried about the trauma that people endure when they are subjected to seeing people shot in front of them, which is a fair point. Yes, you know what went on to lead to this, and yes, is it unjustified? Well, I think you can probably make that conclusion. But that does not, at least in my opinion, justify all this other stuff. And to simply say windows, buildings, and cars can all be fixed or replaced, well, tell that to the local business guy who's trying to make a life for himself, trying to provide jobs for the community, trying to survive. I want to have a discussion about the violence, because there's no way, at least based on what we know, that anybody can, at least at this point in time, defend the shooting the other day. All right? And I don't think anybody should be trying to defend that, because unless there's something that most of us just can't imagine, I think it's going to turn out to be an unjustified shooting. But this idea that, okay, well, this then justifies the looting, the burning, the arson, I just don't buy it. And my belief is, every time you see pictures of that, the general response is, I don't want to be part of this group. I understand people are upset about this, but, this is just an excuse to engage in violence. And from the perspective of whether it's businesses in Kenosha or, in particular, businesses in Madison that continue, it's the same sort of businesses that continue to be vandalized. At some point in time, you're going to have these businesses that say, enough is enough, we're pulling out. And how does that help anybody? This is Jeff Wagner.
This is the Best of Jeff Wagner, highlighting the best moments of a 25-year career on WTMJ.
Hi, it's Samantha, and I'm here spreading cheer with Heiser's Holiday Happenings. Get incredible deals on our new and used vehicles, discounts on our service parts and accessories. We also have in-store holiday cheer, and we have events, plus special bonuses and giveaways. There are new sets of offers each week, so make sure you visit Heiser.com for all of the details. And hurry in, because offers end December 31st. At Heiser, today's your day.
See dealer for complete details.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Johnson & Sons Paving. Asphalt or concrete, Johnson & Sons is designing commercial projects for 2024 right now. Booking the work in winter gives you full confidence in the design, and you get all the permits pulled so you're set to go first in line this spring. Might not need a full rebuild. Talk with a project manager about a maintenance plan to extend the life of your parking lot or drive, and get an honest assessment on how much longer it's going to last. Plenty of Johnsons over there, no subcontractors. JohnsonandSonsPaving.com.
Your hometown hub for everything that matters. The latest news, traffic, weather, and sports on Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
Good afternoon. 1 o'clock, we have rain, 42 degrees. That rain will taper off tonight, mostly cloudy with a low 37. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. Pro-life supporters making their voices heard in Sheboygan as the city's Planned Parenthood clinic resumes abortion services today.
The rain, not a problem for the dozens of people gathered holding signs against abortion. Pro-Life Wisconsin State Director Dan Miller tells WTMJ.
These people come out here day after day during the 40 Days for Life campaign. Doesn't matter what kind of weather it is. Today is a cakewalk.
40 Days for Life marching here at the clinic 12 hours a day for those 40 days twice a year. And their co-leader Jermaine Soik says they want to have a consistent presence here.
In between those two 40-day periods, a smaller group of people try to come out on the days Planned Parenthood is open.
At Planned Parenthood in Sheboygan, Wyatt Barmore-Pooley, WTMJ News.
Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin Chief Medical Officer Dr. Allison Linton tells WTMJ patients who walk through our doors know they will receive the comprehensive, high-quality, non-judgmental, and confidential reproductive care they deserve. Now, former UW lacrosse chancellor Dr. Joe Gow told Wisconsin's Morning News he may pursue litigation over his removal.
I'm very concerned that there was no due process around this, and what that entails is having a hearing, and I get to know what I'm charged with, and then I get to reply and make my case. That never happened. Certainly, I'm very concerned about that, and we'll look into my legal options.
The Board of Regents voted unanimously to oust Gow after discovering him in pornographic videos. Remembering Herb Cole, the former Democratic U.S. Senator and owner of the Milwaukee Bucks who died yesterday at the age of 88, a local attorney who once served as a U.S. Senate page under Cole remembers him as endlessly generous.
Wauwatosa native and local lawyer Brian Randall went to Washington as a high schooler, serving in Senator Cole's first term.
He was very effective in a quiet way.
Randall telling Wisconsin's Morning News Senator Cole later helped him get a summer job that launched his legal career.
Their office manager, she looked at me and said, I don't usually hire high school students, but if Senator Cole is referring you, I'll give you a chance.
Humble and kind, two other words so many associate with the late senator. Vince Vitrano, WTMJ News.
A second American, Judy Weinstein, now confirmed to have been killed in the Hamas terror attack in Israel October 7th. The details from ABC's Britt Clinette.
According to the hostage forum, Judy was the last remaining female American hostage held by Hamas. She was 70 years old. She's the wife of Gadi Hagi, who was announced dead last week. The two were captured on CCTV going for their morning walk in kibbutz near Oz when the attack started. It's believed that they were shot and killed on October 7th, and their bodies taken to Gaza, and it's believed that their bodies remain there.
The Colorado Republican Party wants former President Trump's name back on the state's 2024 primary ballot. State GOP filing an appeal to last week's Colorado Supreme Court ruling to remove Trump for violating the 14th Amendment's insurrection clause. As a wet weather morning unfolded across southeast Wisconsin, Storm Team 4 meteorologist Brendan Johnson says drivers need to be extra cautious when on elevated surfaces.
Those stretches of roadway that are elevated, bridges, overpasses, they lose that heat quickly and they cool down to that freezing mark. That is why those signs are out there. You know, bridges freeze first, and why we have to exercise a little bit more caution out there.
Your complete 5-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Right now, it's time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow up 51 points, S&P 500 up 6, and the NASDAQ Composite is up 16. Get ready for 2024 with investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning from a fee-only fiduciary. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Sighting and limited WTMJ News Time 104.
Ring in the new year with the ultimate timeless gift, a diamond. From Diamonds Direct.
Whether you're ready to pop the question or celebrating a lifetime of love in 2024, Diamonds Direct can make this New Year's one to remember forever. Diamonds Direct is the area's destination for exquisite diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and our nationwide price guarantee ensures you'll get the best value, period. To showcase that spectacular diamond, we have literally thousands of designer settings from all the top names like Tacori, Verragio, Simon G, A. Jaffe, and many more. And our experts will guide you every step of the way with the education you want and the respect you deserve. Engagement rings, wedding bands, eternity bands, fashion rings. At Diamonds Direct, we specialize in the ultimate symbol of love, and we welcome the opportunity to celebrate with you. So start the new year with some new excitement, new hope, and some new bling. Diamonds Direct on Mayfair Road in front of Mayfair Mall. Proud to call Milwaukee home. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
It's the last resort that comes with a grueling and painful recovery. And from what I've been told, it never really feels quite natural. A total knee replacement may make the pain you're living with eventually go away, but it opens up a Pandora's box of other possible issues. And that's why surgeons who really do care will tell you that it's a last resort. There are other surgeons who cry, "Replace! Replace!" But the physicians you'll find at Rejuvenex are primarily concerned with relief. And you may find out that the relief we give you helps so much so that you may not need to get that total knee replacement. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics. Our FDA-approved pain treatments aid inflammation and lubricate your joints. And in most cases, insurance has been shown to cover the costs. At Rejuvenex, we can alleviate your pain, and that'll rejuvenate your life.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
Next up for the Milwaukee Bucks, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tomorrow night to close out this holiday road trip. Last night, Milwaukee improved to 2-1 on this four-gamer, beating the Nets 144-122. Giannis came within 2 assists of another triple-double, 32 points, 10 rebounds, 8 dishes. The Packers will ring in 2024 with a must-win game at Minnesota on New Year's Eve night. Green Bay must win the final 2 games to entertain any possibility of postseason play. The Vikings listed as a 2-point favorite in a game they need as well for playoff hopes. Last night on the ice, the Milwaukee Admirals topped the Chicago Wolves 7-4, and Fiserv Forum is an ice rink tonight. It's the Quick Trip Holiday Face-Off featuring Wisconsin taking on Air Force, also in the field, Northeastern and Minnesota Duluth. Bob Brainerd, WTMJ Sports.
Time for a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons paving time-saver traffic. A little slow in the construction zone, both north and southbound. Brown Deer Road to downtown. It's about an 11-mile stretch there. Northbound's going to take you about 20 minutes. Southbound about a 15-minute drive through that area this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by Hall Mazda Milwaukee. Visit hallmazdamilwaukee.com.
While you're navigating the roads as quickly and safely as possible, if you see something we should know about, call the WTMJ All Mazda Traffic Tip Line, 414-238-9329.
WTMJ 5-day forecast. That rain should taper off tonight. Mostly cloudy, low 37. Partly cloudy and 41 Friday, 40 on Saturday. Chance of snow showers again on Sunday with a high 36. And sunny on Monday with a high 35. Madison 33, Green Bay 39, Milwaukee 42 degrees. I'm Connie Weber. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 108.
Jeff Wagner's 25-year career at WTMJ comes to an end. For the rest of the year, dive back in the archives with us as we bring you the best of Jeff Wagner throughout his career. You're listening to the Best of Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
12:18, Jeff Wagner, WTMJ. Scott Walker goes down to defeat a close race, but he ends up losing. So what ended up happening? Steve in Caledonia texts, Jeff, I feel like somebody smacked me upside the head. I can't figure it out. Well, here's what happened. Governor Walker has always been polarizing. There's no question about it. I don't know that there's anybody out there who voted for Tony Evers. What you saw yesterday was a vote against Governor Walker. He's always had the people who are upset about Act 10, don't like the fact that he's a Republican, et cetera, and there's always been those people that go out and vote against him. In the other elections, he was able to do well enough. Not enough of those people came out, and he was able to do well enough in the areas where he was strong to overcome that. That dynamic changed yesterday. Huge turnout in Dane County, almost all of which was a Democrat vote. Good-sized turnout in Milwaukee County, almost all of which was a Democratic vote. And again, Walker's percentages, and the numbers will come out soon, but, if he was used to getting 68% in Waukesha and he gets 66%, there was a slight decrease in the Walker vote across the country and that across the state, and that was enough to make the difference given the huge turnout you had in Madison and Milwaukee. That's pretty much the numbers. Let's start with Roger in Greenfield. Hi, Roger.
Hi.
What do you think? How do you feel today?
I was a little stunned. I thought that he could have did a better job in the Milwaukee area. He didn't get his message across.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it's always been, a blue area, and I just think he just didn't come out with a strong enough message.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, again, there were a lot of headwinds here. I think, some people are going to attribute the loss to, President Trump and the fact that there might be some fatigue. I don't know, other than the fact that I think some people were motivated. I talked to a lady yesterday who said she voted against Walker because she wanted to send a message to President Trump. And I kind of asked what was that message, and do you think President Trump was going to be listening? But it doesn't matter. That's kind of what the thought process was. So you were surprised at the results.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised.
No, thanks. Well, I mean, I was too. I thought it was going to be close. But at the end of the day, I mean, when you go back and you look at these numbers, this was a statewide election that was carried by Milwaukee and Madison. The turnout was huge, and the numbers, the proportion, the split was enormous. And Governor Walker, if you look at the map, I mean, 70 to 75% of the counties. I don't know how many counties is going to come out that Evers won, 16, 17, 18, somewhere in there. 2/3, 3/4 of the counties, ended up being Republican. But what happened was the margins that he used to rack up, he did slightly less well in many of these key areas. And that difference, coupled with the huge turnout in Milwaukee and Madison, was too much to overcome.
WTMJ, Steve Scafidi here. We're all excited for a new year. However, you may have some anxiety about your finances. The good news, I'm hosting another look-ahead webinar with our partners at Annex Wealth Management on January 4th at 1 p.m. We'll not only walk through the challenges and fluctuating market projections of the next year, but answer your questions about your finances. Registration for the webinar is open now. Just text WEB to the Old National Bank talk and text line 855-616-1620 to sign up. It's the Annex Wealth Management 2024 Market Outlook on January 4th. Sign up today.
Hi, I'm Susan Hiller with Hiller Ford. This is a fun time of year and a great time to get a new Ford from Hiller Ford. We have a huge selection of full-size Broncos and SUVs. The 2023 Bronco Sports, Escapes, Explorers, and even the 2024 Edge have super low 66-month Ford financing of just 1.9%. And that comes with factory rebates up to $3,500. Check out all the great deals at Hiller Ford today. From our family to yours, happy holidays.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Hi, this is Wayne Larrabee, the voice of Green Bay football. Fans count on me to make the right call every time, and I can continue to do that thanks to Summit Eye Care of Wisconsin. When my vision began to drift, my eye doctor said Summit Eye Care was the best place to go. Using the latest adjustable implants, the doctors at Summit were able to fine-tune my vision. In fact, my vision is now the best it's ever been. Summit Eye Care was the right call to help me see all the action on game days.
To schedule an appointment at one of their locations, visit summitiwi.com.
Hi everybody, this is Susan Hiller from Hiller Ford on Highway 100 in Franklin. As we celebrate the holidays and close out the year, I would like to thank all of our customers and friends who have been so loyal to us. It's been our pleasure to serve you. Our plan and our goal is to continue providing you with the highest quality of service for many years to come. I, along with the entire Hiller Ford family, wish you and your family joy, peace, and love this holiday season and throughout the year. Happy holidays.
Back with more of the best of Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Let's talk to David in Mequon. David, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hi, Jeff. Yeah, I was a little surprised. I'm extremely disappointed, because I certainly didn't want to go back to the Jim Doyle days.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think what was really surprising to me was the percentage out of Dane County. I mean, that's just like off the charts, like video game,
right?
Overwhelming. And I do think I was a little surprised in Ozaukee County, where I live in Mequon, that it was a little bit softer than usual. And I think it's imperative that also the northwest part of the state get more acclimated to people with a conservative view, because that part of the state really doesn't really hear anything as far as conservative talking points. And I think that is that's why you see so much of a swing in that part of the state, because there really isn't a conservative voice out there to advocate their ideas and principles.
Well, thanks to God. Maybe we should be talking to my boss about maybe seeing if we can kind of extend this message throughout the rest of the state. Pick up a couple more radio stations or something. Now, that's the last thing he wants to hear from me. But I do think you're on to something, David. That again. There was a slight softening of the numbers. He did well in Ozaukee County. He did well in Brown County. He did well in the Fox Valley, where he's done before. He did well in Washington and Waukesha counties, but not well enough to overcome the huge numbers in Milwaukee and Dane County. And again, I don't believe that this was a vote, gee, we love Tony Evers. What it was the anti-Walker folks who've always been out there, 47% of the electorate, bolstered by the we hate Donald Trump and we're going to run out and we're going to vote. I also think that one of the reasons for you do have kind of Walker fatigue in a way. Sometimes it's just people kind of get burned out with this. And he'd been the governor for 8 years. And I mean, I know I was kind of frustrated because I've talked to people about this over the course of the last several months. If you're a regular listener, you've heard this. And people would say, well, I voted for Governor Walker the last couple times, but I'm not going to vote for him this time because I really wanted there to be a casino in Kenosha. And I'd say, well, okay, why do you really think that's Governor Walker's fault? Well, he didn't push hard enough to get it. And I would say, well, you realize that, for example, the deal that Jim Doyle signed with the Potawatomi makes it almost impossible legally to have done that. We would have been in lawsuits for 5 or 10 years that the state would have probably lost. I don't care. I wanted the casino in Kenosha. And I think that's just one of the things that happens when you're in office for a long time, particularly as the governor. You're going to irritate people from time to time. What do you think happened? Let's talk to Larry in Kenosha. Larry, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
I'm going to tell you why I voted for Tony Evers.
Okay, now let me ask you, had you voted for Walker before, or had you always voted against him?
I voted against him, but
okay.
This is why I voted for Tony Evers. He had a plan, maybe he didn't like it, and I know he still got to get it through the legislature to increase the gas tax.
Okay.
And if it would have raised it a dime, it was about $2 a week for me. To me, and being a fiscal conservative, because I voted for Rat Schimmel, but being a fiscal conservative, I dislike borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. He's borrowed over $1 billion for roads since he's been in office.
Okay, so that was the primary issue that caused you to vote against him this time, that you would have liked to have seen an increase in taxes to pay for road improvements.
And, he said, well, I'm not going to increase the gas tax until we have corresponding cuts in other taxes. Well, taxes were cut. Why didn't he say at that time, I'm going to lower these taxes, but I'm going to raise the gas tax by a dime?
Okay, got it. Thanks for calling, Larry. And I mean, you did have a concentrated campaign by special interest groups. Some of these road builder groups who wanted even more spending than we already have. And we have put in billions of dollars over the last 8 years to improving roads, but some of these road builders, they want more and more money, and they ran some of those ads, and they had that campaign, and they said, here, Scott Walker's responsible for these potholes. It will be interesting to see where we go now, because will people really support massive tax increases? And again, I think you raise an interesting point. I'm not sure the Republican legislature is going to go along with it, but will Tony Evers now come out and say, okay, I want to have a massive gas tax increase? We have jammed phone lines on this, and we're going to continue this segment because this is obviously the story that everybody's talking about. What happened, and how do you feel today, the day after, knowing that Scott Walker, who's been the governor for the last 2 terms, who has, I think, been through thick and thin in this state, now the Walker administration, the Walker years appears to be coming to an end. Jeff Wagner, WTMJ.
Stay in touch. You can reach us on the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. Old National Bank. Get old.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Chris and Tim closed their first loan with Accunet $116,000 ago in terms of the median sales price in southeastern Wisconsin. We helped their daughter buy a home earlier this year, and now we're helping them buy their retirement condo. We're told there were 3 offers, 2 cash offers, and Chris and Tim's offer backed up by an Accunet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. All 3 offers were probably over the asking price, but we're surmising Chris and Tim's offer was the highest because when the sellers asked the listing broker if they could count on the offer with the pre-approval letter, the answer was simply, Accunet really does their homework. It's not easy to beat a cash offer over the asking price, but that's exactly what Tim and Chris did with some help from their trusted family mortgage lender. If you don't think the lender's name on your pre-approval letter matters, think again. It's still a seller's market in the Badger State, so click on the blue button at Accunet.com today to get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. That's ACCUNET.com.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credit, so you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is with complete confidence stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Jeff, it's Eric Brooks, better known as Crowbar. For those of you that don't know, I produced Jeff's show for 3 years, and it was such a transformative and educational experience working with him. Jeff, you taught me so much about the business and showed me the ropes. You helped me understand how to serve your dedicated listeners across Wisconsin. You're more than just a radio host to a lot of people, including me, and many of us can never thank you for the joy and entertainment that you brought into our lives for so many years, both on great days and in days that we will never forget. You'll be dearly missed, but I know Fran and your family cannot wait to have you around more often. Though I somehow know there are more Wagner's rules of life to be learned in retirement. Cheers, buddy, and congratulations.
Wake up this morning, and I turn on to today's show because it's 7:35 our time this morning. Matt Lauer, the intrepid journalist, he had an exclusive interview with this Rachel Dolezal, the woman from Spokane, Washington, who is white, who lied about being white, claiming to be black, and has been with this NAACP. Now, so I watched this, and I guess first of all, I had a couple conclusions. First of all, if I ever get caught in a bold-faced lie, I want Matt Lauer to interview me because you want to talk about softballs. I mean, you're just looking at it like it's this kind of sympathetic thing and going, Matt, I mean, why don't you really like push her on some stuff? So Lauer embarrasses himself. But I'm watching this woman, and you will be able to relate to it because everybody, male or female, has kind of like that crazy boyfriend or crazy girlfriend that you dated for a while until you realize that they were just absolutely nuts. And again, it's not a gender thing. I mean, women date crazy guys date crazy women. This is that boyfriend or girlfriend. This woman is, in my opinion, just nuts. I mean, that's just kind of how you look back, and of course they're showing the pictures of how she's white. Her parents are white. She's white. Now, that doesn't mean, just because you're a white person, doesn't mean that you can't have a sensitivity to, civil rights, and you can't do all sorts of great things to advance minority causes. But she's not black. She's not black. And they ask her these questions, and she's kind of like tap dancing around her. And Matt Lauer never really pushes her. She says, "Well, I identify as black." Well, okay, John Meerdink could identify as a Martian, but that doesn't mean he is a Martian. Okay, and I'm just watching this thing, and I'm thinking, this is everybody's crazy ex-boyfriend or crazy ex-girlfriend right there. My favorite part is that apparently back in 2002, she had applied for a teaching job at Howard University, which is a traditionally black university, and she sued them unsuccessfully, claiming she was discriminated against because she was white. So in 2002, she was white, suing the black college. So maybe she just decided, I'm going to be black, moving on. I don't know what else to say about this, except I'm watching all this stuff, and there's so many people that are treating her with kid gloves, and I'm thinking there's just something wrong here. And again, you can be a black person and identify with Hispanic issues, or you can certainly be a white person and be very active in civil rights and do all sorts of great things. There's no question about it. But this woman's a liar. It's just that simple. She's a liar, and you watch these interviews and you wonder, is this like a pathological liar here? And again, simply say, okay, well, no, I'm Caucasian, I'm white, but that doesn't mean that I haven't accomplished all these great things for the civil rights movement, because you could certainly do it, but you can do it without pretending that you're something else. And now all the stories are she identifies as black. Well, again, like I say, Meerdink could identify as a Martian. That doesn't make him a Martian. Although, maybe we need to check that out. I think she's a con artist, but in my opinion, she's also just flat out nuts. I mean, this is a woman who was raised by white parents, who went to a predominantly black university and then sued the university, claiming they discriminated against her because she was white, who now has decided that she's actually a black woman, has been lying about that, and has now been exposed for that, and it's one thing after another. And, of course, she's getting treated like she's got some degree of credibility, and this is going to be a serious conversation on race. No, this woman, in my opinion, shows all the signs of being just flat out nuts. and we're putting on her TV, and every time they confront her with something, she just lies about more things. Well, your parents are clearly white. Well, I don't know that they're my parents. We haven't had a DNA test. Huh? I mean, seriously, huh? And now the latest reports are, of course, that she was apparently involved in making a sex tape. Who cares? But what a surprise. But this is just, whether she's a hustler and a con artist, or just like everybody's crazy ex-girlfriend or boyfriend, or a combination thereof. This woman, in my opinion, is just trouble. And she's getting treated like she's something serious. And that's, that we should, handle her with kid gloves and, treat her when she says, I identify as black. Well, okay, you didn't identify as black, years ago. But no, I don't think I'm being too hard on her at all. It's amazing. It is amazing what it takes to get your 15 minutes of fame in this country.
More of the best of Jeff Wagner after the break.
Ring in the new year with the ultimate timeless gift, a diamond from Diamonds Direct. Whether you're ready to pop the question or celebrating a lifetime of love in 2024, Diamonds Direct can make this New Year's one to remember forever. Diamonds Direct is the area's destination for exquisite diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and our nationwide price guarantee ensures you'll get the best value, period. To showcase that spectacular diamond, we have literally thousands of designer settings from all the top names like Tacori, Verragio, Simon G, A. Jaffe, and many more. And our experts will guide you every step of the way with the education you want and the respect you deserve. Engagement rings, wedding bands, eternity bands, fashion rings. At Diamonds Direct, we specialize in the ultimate symbol of love, and we welcome the opportunity to celebrate with you. So start the new year with some new excitement, new hope, and some new bling. Diamonds Direct, on Mayfair Road in front of Mayfair Mall. Proud to call Milwaukee home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Emergency service 24/7. Quality Heating has 25 trucks ready to work around the clock to get out there quickly to solve your heating or AC problem. So when that system goes on the fritz and you want to avoid that sweaty summer heat or bypass the fear of frozen feet, the man in the red van can't be beat when it comes to prompt, reliable service. Call Quality Heating for any emergency HVAC need.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality Heating, Quality Heating.
So here's why you'd want an Armstrong Air heat pump. Consider a powerful electric backup to your gas furnace that can do the work of your furnace very efficiently. That means lower energy bills, and it has a rock-solid 12-year warranty and can act as an AC unit too. But here's the real gist of it. With all the government tax credits you get, you almost get the darn thing free. So see the man in the red van to get reliable efficiency from an Armstrong Air heat pump.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality heating, quality heating.
Hey Jeff, Charlie Sykes here. Congratulations on 20 gazillion years on the radio. You and I both know this sort of thing's a lot harder than it looks, but you've been a consummate pro all these years, and I can't wait to hear what you're going to do next, because even though we're old guys now, we're still too young to retire, right? But seriously, Jeff, best wishes for whatever you've got planned. Just don't make it a daily radio show.
It's 12:35. Jeff Wagner, 620 WTMJ. Our producer Hondo. You know where Hilbert is? Hilbert is a small village in Calumet County. Calumet County is, for people who don't know, it's on the northeast side of Lake Winnebago. So Hilbert is, well, it's close to Green Bay and Appleton and Fond du Lac and Manitowoc. It's kind of like centrally located. Hilbert, there's a Sargento Foods is located there. But it's a small village, and there's a school district. The high school, the Hilbert High School, has about 200 students. Ballpark. So that's the kind of nature of it. And there's this young lady who, her name is April Gell, and she's a star athlete at Hilbert High School. She is she's a senior at Hilbert. She's the leading scorer on the girls basketball team in points and rebounds. Hilbert is 7-4 on the season, and they're one of the better teams in Division 5. Okay, so that is the background of this. She has the WIAA, the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association, mad at her. Now, as a general rule, I am in favor of anybody who has the WIAA mad at you, because as I have been carrying on for years, this is an out-of-control, obsessive organization. I understand it is run by the members, but it is run by by its members with an iron hand. And the sooner, in my opinion, the members take back control of this out-of-control organization, the better it will be. In any event, the WIAA sends out an email. It is written by the Director of Communications, Todd Clark, to state high school officials late last month concerning sportsmanship. Here is the email. It reads, "Season's greetings. I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, as well as the opportunity to take a short breather. Heading into the new year with the holiday tournaments and conference schedules ramping up and the winter sports tournament series soon to follow, we want to identify a point of emphasis for sportsmanship this season. As we reviewed the fall tournaments and the sportsmanship evaluations and observations, we want to address concerns with a notable increase in the amount of chants by student sections directed at opponents and or opponents' supporters that are clearly intended to taunt and or disrespect." Okay, high school basketball games. Gee, the fans chant things that are perhaps disrespectful. Now I'm thinking, are these obscenities? I mean, that are these vulgarities? That's what I'm thinking here. You've got the students that are chanting like bad words and things like that. The email continues. "Not wanting to restrict creativity or enjoyment," which would be a first for the WIAA, "an enthusiastic and boisterous display of support for a school's team is welcomed and encouraged at interscholastic events when directed in a positive manner. However, any action directed at opposing teams or their spectators with the intent to taunt, disrespect, distract, or entice an unsporting behavior in response is not acceptable sportsmanship." So you can't distract. So if somebody is like shooting a free throw, you're not supposed to distract them, presumably. All right. I guess these people who run the WIAA have never gone to professional basketball games or college basketball games or whatever. "Student groups, school administrators, and event managers should take immediate steps to correct this unsporting behavior." Todd Clark continues, some specific examples of unsporting behavior by student groups. And again, I'm assuming that this is, we don't want you screaming obscenities and things like that. Some specific examples of unsporting behavior by student groups, including chants directed at opposing participants and or fans. Among the chants, now I hope you're sitting down here, among the chants that have been heard at recent high school sporting events are, quote, "You can't do that," fundamentals, airball, airball. All right? There's a net there. Civ, we can't hear you. The scoreboard cheer and season's over during tournament series plays. Thanks for your assistance. So this is it. Don't chant airball. Okay, don't chant airball because the little snowflakes that are playing the game, well, they might be offended by that. All right. So, how does this get national attention for this young lady from Hilbert? Apparently what happens is her school gets it. They pass on the email. The email from the WIAA, Todd Clark, forwarded to Hilbert students by school officials earlier last week. She decides to send, on her own time, decides to send out a tweet. She passes the email on in its entirety. The headline, though, for the tweet, I cannot say it on the radio, but it's 3 words. It is, well, I guess there's 2 ways you could describe it. It says, eat blank, WIAA, or if that's not, if you're still unclear on it, she essentially says, consume excrement, WIAA, and sends this on. The WIAA finds out that this girl had the temerity to send out this tweet and becomes all irate. And they apparently then reach out to the school and say, okay, you better deal with this. And she has now been suspended for 5 games. I think this raises all sorts of interesting issues, starting with the idea that apparently in the state of Wisconsin, under the regime that is the WIAA, somebody, a student athlete, on her own time, on her personal computer, her personal social media thing, cannot offer a comment, vulgar as it might have been, with regard to this policy that the WIAA has come out with. Should this girl have been disciplined, or is this an outrageous example of, I don't know, a crackdown of freedom of speech? I mean, it's not like she used the school computers. She gets this. This is her own Twitter account. This is on her own time. She sends out this commentary as to what she thinks of this directive from the WIAA. The WIAA, which I will tell you this, cannot handle criticism at all. I won't say never. When it comes to thin-skinned organizations, the WIAA is right out there. They apparently say to the school district, do something about it, and the school district suspends her for 5 games. John in Fond du Lac. John, you're first. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jeff. As you were reading that story, I think if most of us are honest, we're all thinking, give me strength or some other words that I know we can't say on the radio.
Right.
But as you pointed out, this wasn't a young lady that was out on the court and told a referee, to go pound sand, or a coach or anything like that. She was completely, and what happened to free speech in this country? And as you pointed out, I have a daughter playing high school basketball. The WIAA and some of these rules, they are the most incompetent, inept people that roam the earth, and they are always offended, and they cannot handle criticism. And it's sad, but
this is a 17-year-old girl on her own Twitter account who has the temerity to respond to what. Now, look, I think this is a stupid email.
The problem here, though, is, is whether it was the athletic director or the principal at Hilbert, I think they're as big an idiot as the WIAA because they're the ones that didn't have the stones to say to the WIAA, come on, guys, give us a break.
Right.
We
Get
are
a life.
not going to enforce this crap.
Thanks for the call. No, I mean that they just fold. Oh my goodness, this is so terrible. Right. This is not like unsportsmanlike behavior. Look, maybe you disagree with me and you think that this email from the WIAA is exactly what you need. That's the last thing we can do in a high school basketball game, to have the fans chant air ball if somebody misses. Maybe you think that that's completely appalling. I would say, the snowflakes need to recognize that those are some of the things that are going to happen. But reasonable people, even if you can accept that reasonable people disagree with that, you're going to suspend a girl for 5 games because she expresses her First Amendment opinion on the WIAA position. We continue the conversation in 2 minutes. This is, of course, getting national attention, and I think, once again, the WIAA is making itself a national laughingstock. Jeff Wagner, 620 WTMJ.
According to the U.S. debt clock, our debt is over $32 trillion and climbing. The question is, how do we pay it off? One of the most likely answers is increasing taxes. Now think about your retirement accounts. Do you want to pay taxes on some of that money now when rates are historically low, or later when rates are potentially higher? At Drake & Associates, we can help you create a plan so your retirement is tax efficient as possible. If you'd like to continue your education, we have our Retirement Ready Toolkit, which includes guides on retirement tax savings. To receive this complimentary toolkit, call or text TAX to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting TAX to 414-409-9982. When taxes go up, will you be ready? Call or text now.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, and SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Nagging pain lasting for months, difficulty performing everyday tasks, not moving like you'd like, it's time to see the doctor. And I recommend Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Anytime I've needed care, the appointments are timely, no waiting weeks to be seen, and no pressure to have surgery. It's about getting the right diagnosis and choosing a treatment plan that fits your life. No question where I turn if I'm injured again. The experts in care at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. It's orthowisconsin.com.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, farm is in our name, so you know we're animal experts, offering the quality pet food, supplies, and advice you need for healthy, happy pets. Right now, get a free $20 Blaine's gift card with $100 spent on Hill's Science Diet dog or cat food, 20% off select pet dental care and treats, 40-pound bags of Blaine's brand black oil sunflower seed, $21.99. Plus, fill your pet and animal prescriptions online at blainesrx.com. Our stores will be closed on New Year's Day, but farmandfleet.com is always open.
Who's in charge?
I'm in charge.
No, I'm in charge.
With the Art of Options collection at Penny Mustard, everybody's in charge.
Aw, man, I want her to be in charge.
You are, and so am I. She is, too.
When it comes to customizing the Art of Options sectional sofa, you're in charge of your own design.
So your new sofa is entirely optionizable.
Is that a real word?
It is now.
Create a spectacular sofa that's perfectly and powerfully you.
Choose your arm style,
fabric,
seat, and cushion.
Add motorized reclining.
Or don't.
It's entirely up to you.
A customized creation that's a true work of art.
It's about time someone recognized my artistic flair.
The Art of Options, featuring the Elran sectional, starting at $135 a month with only 1 penny down and no interest till January of 2028 through January 7th at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Jeff Wagner, Paul Ryan here. Hey, congratulations. 25 years at TMJ. That's amazing. It seems like yesterday you were just running for Attorney General and just getting started in this job. Look, I just want to say this. Jeff Wagner has been a voice of reason, a soothing voice and a respite for people in the afternoons in all of southeastern Wisconsin for a quarter of a century. We're going to miss you. We're going to miss who you are, how you sound, and what you've done for all of us in our community. And take it from me, retirement's a pretty cool thing because there's all these other things you can do with your life. I'm excited for you. Thank you, and God bless.
6:49, Jeff Wagner, 620 WTMJ. If you're just tuning in, this story has now gone national. The WIAA, which is the regime that runs high school sports, it is, in my opinion, an out-of-control organization. I've talked about it before. They send out, their spokesperson sends out this memo before Christmas, essentially saying to the member schools, we want you to discourage what we consider to be unsportsmanlike conduct, like chants and things like that. And I thought they were talking about obscenities, but things like airball. Don't let the kids scream airball, during a basketball game, which to me is insane. So anyhow, there's this senior. She's at Hilbert High School, up in Calumet County. She gets a copy of the memo and sends out a tweet on her own Twitter account, not involving the school, and it says, eat blank WIAA. The WIAA finds out about it. They alert the athletic director at Hilbert, and they've now suspended the girl for 5 games. Really? Rick in Milwaukee. Rick, you're on 620 WTMJ.
Hi. I saw that this weekend. I forwarded it to my son, who's an athlete, and I couldn't believe it.
If she's on the basketball court and she uses a vulgarity with regard to the official, I get it. You toss her, you suspend her. But this is her Twitter account responding to what I think is a dumb policy by the WIAA.
And I quite honestly, I don't have a problem with a partial game suspension or a 1-game suspension if it came from the coach for violating team rules. If a coach decides that he doesn't want his student athletes acting like that, that's his right to do that, and I think that's probably where it should have came from. But to suspend her for 5 games, which she could have pulled out a needle and injected heroin into her arm and got the same suspension.
Yeah,
there's no just desserts on this as far as what should be laid down for. Which is probably a freedom of speech issue, but most athletic codes do dictate what can be said and done on social media. But to go to the extreme of
I guess here's my question, Rick, and maybe this is something that every student athlete in the state of Wisconsin now has to address, and that is that if you now use a bad word, if that's what got her suspended, the fact that in some tweet or a posting she used a bad word, a vulgarity, does that mean that any athlete is now going to be suspended for using a bad word, or was she suspended because she criticized the WIAA, in which case, seems to me you've got a major free speech issue.
And I'd love to hear the clarification from the school on that, because the using the bad word thing, I think you may be surprised, but almost every athletic code out there for every high school does cover that.
Right, but do we suspend? I mean, every time, if every high school athlete that's ever heard to utter a bad word, are they now going to be suspended for 5 games?
That is ridiculous. Yeah. That they would do it. And, just because it's in there and it's a violation doesn't mean it would go to that extreme. More so than not, you would, like I said, have a coach speak to your athletes.
Right.
Say, this is not how we want to represent our school.
Yeah, no, thanks. I mean, again, I just look, I'm a long way away from high school athletics, but my guess is there's not a day that doesn't go by in the state of Wisconsin where some high school athlete might use a vulgarity. And I don't hear about them being suspended for 5 games. Now, it seems to me we understand what happened here. She used this vulgarity in criticizing a policy that the masters in the WIAA came out with. They are thin-skinned, and so the school decides we're going to crack down on this. But this is now my question. If it's not a free speech issue, is every time a student athlete says a bad word, is this going to be 5 games on the bricks? And if that's the case, look, let's face it, are you going to have enough athletes to field, a volleyball team or a basketball team? Greg and Madison. Greg, you're on 620 WTMJ.
Yeah, kind of chiming in along the previous caller. 5 games for expressing an opinion and using a word that is one of the 7 naughty words.
Right.
A couple of years ago, there was that kid from Quantico who got alleged and arrested for rape during the football season.
Right.
The WIA didn't get involved in there. The Germantown basketball team, 4 of them got arrested for smoking pot and possession of it during school and got a 2-game suspension.
Right.
and this girl expresses her opinion and gets a 5-game suspension, something's seriously wrong.
It is. I mean, it is just fundamentally messed up on so many levels. And I don't even, again, I think this is a stupid memo coming out from a stupid, out-of-control organization. And I understand that the members go along with this, but you've got the administration of the WIAA that runs it. Then they always say, well, we're just doing what our members want. Well, the truth is, it's time for the members to take that back and take back that group. And the sooner you got rid of the entire hierarchy, the better off it would be. But even if you disagree with me that this is a dumb memo that they sent out, I mean, really, 5 games, and the WIAA, they're the ones that saw this. They found out about it. They alert the school, well, you better do something about this. 5 games for her expressing an opinion, a 3-word opinion, admittedly including a vulgarity, but a vulgarity that my guess is student-athletes use all across Wisconsin on a daily basis. Steve in Sussex. Steve, you're on 620 WTMJ.
Good afternoon, Jeff.
Hi,
How
Steve.
are you?
This is getting me worked up. I just think this girl is getting railroaded.
I hear you, Jeff, and I kind of disagree. I coached in both basketball and volleyball in schools, and I mean, like you said earlier, there are players that will use that word on the court. They'll get a warning, hey, don't use that word, right. And yes, it's written in the codes and everything, but let's face it, Jeff, the reason the WIAA is doing this is they are becoming next to the communist Nazi state, whatever you want to call it, and they are upset that somebody is actually questioning their imperialistic order.
Right. If this was what you're saying is that if this girl had used the same thing, passing on a tweet about, okay, over the weekend we did a special Stephen Avery coverage. Okay, if she had just passed on the press release we sent out about that, saying, eat blank WTMJ, what you're saying is the WIA wouldn't have gotten involved at all.
Exactly. It's obvious that they wouldn't because that is not against them. And again, the whole situation, I guess that's why what you said earlier is the members of the WIA need to rise up, because even this young lady recognizes that it's becoming the, oversensitive America. Just, you can't even, no wonder why our kids grow up and can't handle life these days.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because you've got adults, you've got the WIAA that can't handle the criticism. And again, I think this was a stupid memo. I think if you've really gotten to the point that you can't go to a high school basketball game and the kids can't chant air ball when somebody shoots and misses, first of all, what is that going to do when some of the kids go on to play college basketball? Is this now the politically correct thing that we've got to look out for the sensitivity of the snowflakes? Now, again, I understand that some of the chants and stuff can go too far, and that's why I thought they were saying, okay, make sure it doesn't include vulgarities and things like that. But civ or airball or these things, now the politically correct and sensitive WIA people can't have that, but now you can't even criticize them. Shame on this group and these member organizations that allow yourself to be, well, just beholden under the boot heels of this WIAA. You need to take back your organization, and it starts by cleaning house. Jeff Wagner, 620 WTMJ.
Going there first. Got it.
When it comes to public safety in Milwaukee, no one knows it better than Annie Schwartz.
More often than not, when officers are hurt in a traffic crash, their vests actually save them.
Join WTMJ now Wednesday mornings at 9 for the Public Safety Hour. Annie will get you updated on the latest issues facing police, firefighters, and more.
One of the chiefs I used to work with always used to say was, first reports are always wrong.
It's the Public Safety Hour on WTMJ Now.
Out with the old. Ken Michaels Furniture and Milwaukee Mattress is having a year-end clearance sale. Save 20% on floor model mattresses. Shop discounted items at 50 to 70% off. Get closeout deals on area rugs. All furniture on the floor is marked down. If you want spectacular savings on the best furniture you'll ever own, stop in today at Ken Michaels Furniture on Highway 100 in Greenfield, Capitol Drive in Brookfield, or our downtown factory showroom. Year-end clearance sale ends soon. Do you love the simplicity and enduring quality of Scandinavian design? Then the year-end clearance sale at Ken Michaels Furniture is for you. Inspired by tradition and built to last, Fjords brings the best of modern Norwegian furniture designed to your home. Save up to 20% on these ergonomic recliners engineered with comfort in mind. Available with manual or power options, Stop in today at Ken Michaels Furniture on Capitol Drive in Brookfield, Highway 100 in Greenfield, or our downtown factory showroom. Sale ends soon.
Siding Unlimited, named the best window installers, not just here, but in the whole USA. Get the best. Siding Unlimited, 3-time winner as America's best window installer. For windows, you call Siding Unlimited first and directly. SidingUnlimited.com.
It's the last resort that comes with a grueling and painful recovery. And from what I've been told, it never really feels quite natural. A total knee replacement may make the pain you're living with eventually go away, but it opens up a Pandora's box of other possible issues. And that's why surgeons who really do care will tell you that it's a last resort. There are other surgeons who cry, "Replace! Replace!" But the physicians you'll find at Rejuvenex are primarily concerned with relief. And you may find out that the relief we give you helps so much so that you may not need to get that total knee replacement. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics. Our FDA-approved pain treatments aid inflammation and lubricate your joints. And in most cases, insurance has been shown to cover the costs. At Rejuvenex, we can alleviate your pain, and that'll rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Back with more of the best of Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Would I wait a half hour for a table at one of my very favorite restaurants or one of the best restaurants in town? Yeah, maybe if I could sit at the bar. There's no way I'm waiting 30 or 45 minutes to get a chicken sandwich at Popeyes. Are people crazy? Dave in Waukesha. Dave, you're on WTMJ.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
I'm fine, but life is too short.
No, my lit would be 5 minutes. I mean, that would be it. Otherwise, you know what? I would just, exactly what you just said. I'd stop at a bar, sit at the table, or sit at the bar and order a sandwich. I'd still be out of there in 40 minutes.
Well, right, exactly. I mean, and at the end of the day, look, it could be great, and maybe it's better than Chick-fil-A or better than but at the end of the day, it's a fast food chicken sandwich.
Well, it's called fast. It's not supposed to be 40 minutes. It's supposed to be a half hour.
Exactly. Now, thanks for calling. Now, don't misunderstand. I'm not criticizing Popeyes at all. Clearly, whatever the marketing thing is that they did, it kind of overwhelmed them. So, I mean, it's a good problem to have that you have more demand for your product than you can meet. I'm just saying I just flat don't understand this because, I mean, the whole idea of fast food is fast food. All right, let's go to some text. Jeff, I was at Popeyes Monday. This week, they were already out of them. This was the Popeyes by Miller Parkway. Yeah, that's apparently a nationwide problem. Another text. Jeff, there's no way I'm waiting. As you say, life is too short. Another text. Jeff, don't these people have jobs? Are they going to die without eating that chicken sandwich today? Well, what's that? That's the line from Caddyshack. Don't you people have jobs? It's just, it could be a great chicken sandwich. And I understand that there is part of this kind of collective experience. Oh, we're all waiting for the chicken sandwich. Let's have fun. But, okay, it's a chicken sandwich. Mitch says it's fast food. If it's slow, I'm out of there. Another text, I'm not waiting more than 5 minutes. Too many other choices, to which I would say amen to that. Taylor in River Hill says, Jeff, this was a normal business operation chicken sandwich. This was the launch. This was not a normal operation chicken sandwich. This was the launch of a special product, but it was no different from the opening of the Chick-fil-A, Portillo's or Wahlburgers. People will wait a long time for the initial product output. Well, obviously, you're right. People will wait a long time for the initial product output. I guess I'm just saying that I'm not one of those people. Jeff, no, I would not wait 40 minutes. By comparison, I made reservations at Olive Garden on Friday night for a party of 8. I get there and the hostess says the wait will be 30 minutes. I was upset and I said I made reservations for my group so I wouldn't have to wait. I have not been back and don't intend to be back. Dave in Appleton says, I wouldn't wait 30 minutes if they were free and I could only get 4 of them. I guess credit to Popeyes for creating this incredible demand. Great marketing success. And my guess is, I don't know, they're going to bring them back. And my guess is, well, a couple months from now, you're going to be able to go into a Popeyes and you're going to be able to order as many of these things as you want, and you're going to be able to get them right away. I will wait till that opportunity comes along.
You're listening to our celebration of Jeff Wagner's 25-year career at WTMJ.
Drinking and driving will change your whole world. Whether you get pulled over or get into a crash, things will never be the same. Getting a sober ride will change your world for the better. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Did you know that driving under the influence of marijuana is illegal? And if you drive while you're high, law enforcement can definitely tell. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Keeping you informed, keeping you safe, keeping you engaged and entertained. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 2 o'clock, it is 39 degrees. Afternoon rain today, a high of 42. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Wyatt Barmore-Pooley. Planned Parenthood in Sheboygan now performing abortions again as of today and attracting a gathering of those opposed as well. A rally held this morning outside the clinic organized by Pro-Life Wisconsin, with dozens brandishing signs in the rain and wind. Pro-Life Wisconsin State Director Dan Miller tells WTMJ.
We have right across the street Anchor of Hope, Pregnancy Care Center here in Sheboygan. Been here for a long time. They help moms and babies before birth and in many cases long after the baby is born.
Miller saying one of their goals today is to help direct people away from Planned Parenthood and towards their preferred center, Anchor of Hope. With appointments now available to be booked for abortions at Planned Parenthood, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Allison Linton tells WTMJ, patients and community are our priority, and being able to provide this essential care at another health center is important to the health and well-being of Wisconsinites. Another teen shot in Milwaukee, an 18-year-old shot and killed near 76th and Good Hope on Wednesday night. According to Milwaukee police, the shooting happened shortly before midnight. The victim was pronounced dead at the scene. That is now the 5th teenager shot in Milwaukee since last Friday. The now former UW lacrosse chancellor, Dr. Joe Gao, telling WTMJ he's considering litigation against the universities of Wisconsin after he was removed from the job on Wednesday.
The Board of Regents removed Gao from his role because of explicit pornographic videos of he and his wife posted online. The two also appear in cooking videos where they talk to adult film actors.
A lucky guy. That's all I'll say.
Right? I'm very concerned that there was no due process.
Dr. Gao on Wisconsin's Morning News says there should have been a public hearing on the matter.
And I get to know what I'm charged with, and then I get to reply and make my case. That never happened.
Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Gao was on paid leave while the tenured status of him as a professor is reviewed as well. Not just a senator and Milwaukee sports legend, Herb Cole was a champion for education through his foundation, which gives out grants of $6,000 each year to 100 Wisconsin teachers.
This year, Greendale High School teacher Jennifer McCauley was the recipient. She's been teaching American Sign Language for over 25 years. She tells WTMJ,
I felt so honored. My goal was for me to be able to connect my students to more authentic resources within the community.
The money helps her with arts and crafts resources and help make sign language teaching videos. And although she never met Herb Cole, she says she felt his impact in education.
I will be forever grateful to him and all the things that he's done for educators in our state.
Julian Johnson, WTMJ News.
Local attorney Brian Randall served as a Senate page during Senator Cole's first term. Randall says while he may not be known for landmark legislation in his political career, Cole found ways to move the needle in Washington.
What I think Herb Cole did was embrace his personality, which was a relatively quiet person, but very smart, and found a way to do that for Wisconsin and do good for Wisconsin and be effective through the halls of the U.S. Senate.
Cole died yesterday at age 88. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. All in the green today. Dow up 91 points. That's about 0.25%. S&P 500 is up a little over 7. And the NASDAQ is up 10 points. Get ready for 2024 with investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning from a fee-only fiduciary. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather coming up next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 2:04.
Joint pain. You have it? It's time to get rid of it. Make that call to QC Kinetics and get rid of that joint pain. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. QC Kinetics. They'll help get your life back. The nation's leader in regenerative medicine, QC Kinetics uses all-natural treatments that'll help restore and repair that damaged joint tissue. That means you get to move pain-free again. If the source of your pain is in your knee, your back, your shoulder, check out QC Kinetics. Be one of the tens of thousands of satisfied patients around the country who are able to get lasting relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. So if you have pain from an old injury or maybe associated with arthritis, check out QC Kinetics. The future of medicine is here. Regenerative treatments from QC Kinetics. Give them a call and get the most out of 2024 doing what you love. 414-285-3474 is the number. 414-285-3474. QC Kinetics. 414-285-3474.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credits, so you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is, with complete confidence, stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Next up for the Milwaukee Bucks, the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow night to close out this holiday road trip. Last night, Milwaukee improved to 2-1 on this four-gamer, beating the Nets 144-122. Giannis came within 2 assists of another triple-double, 32 points, 10 rebounds, 8 dishes. The Packers will ring in 2024 with a must-win game at Minnesota on New Year's Eve night. Green Bay must win the final 2 games to entertain any possibility of postseason play. The Vikings listed as a 2-point favorite in a game they need as well for playoff hopes. Last night on the ice, the Milwaukee Admirals topped the Chicago Wolves 7-4, and Fiserv Forum is an ice rink tonight. It's the Quick Trip Holiday Face-Off featuring Wisconsin taking on Air Force, also in the field, Northeastern and Minnesota Duluth. Bob Brainerd, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads, it's your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic. 43 is our focus right now. 43 southbound, the major slowdown is 16 minutes right now from Brown Deer to downtown, a 5-minute delay. Those delays concentrated pretty much entirely between Silver Spring and Hampton. A little bit of slowdowns as you come out of that as well. Northbound, it's you're definitely seeing some brake lights as you approach Locust from about North Avenue to Locust. That's where you're going to see those slowdowns.
Traffic is sponsored by TaybackAttorneys.com. Hurt at work? Call Tayback for the payback. An injury at work may leave you eligible for compensation benefits, including lost wages, coverage of medical bills, or a cash settlement. Call Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com.
Time for the WTMJ 5-day forecast. Afternoon rain today, a high of 42. Tonight, that rain is going to taper off. It'll be mostly cloudy with a low of 37. Friday, partly cloudy with a high of 41. Saturday, partly cloudy, a high of 40. Sunday, chance of some snow showers, and it'll be mostly cloudy, a high of 36. And on Monday, mostly sunny skies, but the high still just 35. I'm Wyatt Barmore-Pooley, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 2:08.
Jeff Wagner's 25-year career at WTMJ comes to an end. For the rest of the year, dive back in the archives with us as we bring you the best of Jeff Wagner throughout his career. You're listening to the best of Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
All right, another opinion piece on this. Let's see, this is in something called Quartz Magazine. The most controversial accessory in the United States looks simple enough. A straightforward phrase, "Make America Great Again." An ugly design, barely legible text printed on blinding red fabric. In its font, it looks like it was last used in 1996. The point is that the Make America Great hat has come to be a symbol imbued with meaning well beyond the literal command to make America great again. Wearing the hat is not a neutral act. It will betray the wearer in an affiliation with the racist, and nationalist factions among Trump supporters. It may not. At the very least, it shows that the wearer is unmoved by the fact that their hat makes people uncomfortable. If the smirking kid had called someone a racial slur, this is talking about the Covington thing, he would not be able to release a statement just saying, in hindsight, I wish we could have walked away from the whole thing. The hat is becoming more like that. I can personally say, and this is another writer, as an African-American who sometimes has a large terrorist-looking beard, if I see someone with a Make America Great hat on, I become afraid they will tell me to go back to my home country or punch me in the face. It is a hat. And this is the reaction that you have from people nowadays. Now, if you are a regular listener of this program, you know that I have a nuanced view of President Trump. Doing this show would perhaps be easier if I just completely drank the Kool-Aid, thought that everything he did was great, or if I drank the Kool-Aid and just completely hated everything he does. That's not this show, and that's not me. It is a nuanced view. Donald Trump does some things that I think are good. I think some things are going to turn out to be good for the country. In many cases, he does them in ways that I find to be boorish and ham-handed. But at the same time, I give him credit when he accomplishes things, and I like to think I criticize him when he's doing stuff that I think is just counterproductive or whatever. But this idea now that's being promulgated out there is that if you have the audacity to publicly support President Trump, if you are one of, then if you believe the polls, the 35 or 36 or 37% of the population that believes President Trump is doing a good job, and you display it by wearing that hat, well, the idea that you're a racist, you're a hater, you're a member of the Klan, I think is just incredibly offensive. And this idea that we're going to be able to then make these sort of judgments, well, if you're wearing that Make America Great hat, you kind of get what you deserve. Well, that's why you had the black hate group that was screaming the racial slurs at the kids. That's why the guy from the American Indian movement was right to go in and confront him and bang on the drums. You know, really? It's a hat, and it is an expression of, again, support for a political candidate, or in this case, the President of the United States. You might not like the President of the United States. You might not agree with the President of the United States. You might think the President of the United States is this or that or the other. But this idea that, well, all his supporters and anybody who would wear this hat has to be a racist or a hater and pretty much deserves what they get. Well, of course you had these groups, these hate groups that were screaming at the kids. They were wearing these hats, don't you understand? Give me a break. Bill, you're on WTMJ. Bill, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
What do you think?
A couple of years ago, I got a Christmas card from Donald Trump during the election, and it had the him wearing the hat, the Pledge of Allegiance, and I cut it all apart and got it printed on T-shirts. And I'm proud to wear that T-shirt with that hat showing on there. I'm not proud of some of the things he does with his Twitter accounts, but basically I think he's doing a good job.
Well, yeah, okay, so you got to understand, Bill, that when you go out in public, you know, wearing that, you understand that some people view you as a racist and a hater, and you're out there trying to provoke a reaction from them.
They're sick, I think.
Well, you're right. Exactly. I mean, thanks for the call. I mean, last time I checked, this was America. Now, I understand that there's some people who believe that in America, well, what you have to do is you have to all think about things the same way. And, you know, it's okay if you want to wear, I don't know, like one of those hats, like what do they call them? The pussy hats that they had on. Remember, you had those that's okay. You can wear that, and that's great. You can express your opinions with T-shirts that say whatever you want to say. But on the other hand, if you wear the Make America Great hat, that means that, well, anything that, we want to say about you, because this is our perception, that means you are a supporter of Donald Trump. And if you're a supporter of Donald Trump, that means that you've got to be a hater and you've got to be racist. Well, okay, maybe you're a supporter of Donald Trump because maybe you believe in building the wall. I'm agnostic on the wall. I've said that, but maybe you believe in that. And maybe you believe that, it's time to return America to, some of the things that did make it great. And you can have that discussion, do you agree or not? And that's what elections are for. I understand all that. But to essentially say, well, these kids were dupes because they were wearing this hat and they essentially deserve what they get, that's what I find to be offensive about this entire situation. Let's see, here's a text. If someone wears a red Make America Great Again hat, it means they are pro-Trump. Yeah, I think it does. That means they support the lying con man currently residing in the White House. Well, okay, again, see, this is the attitude, and this is what you get from the Trump haters that are out there. Well, anybody that would support him and anybody that would have the audacity to publicly recognize this, well, that means they've got to be haters. That means that they have to be evil. Well, okay, it might just mean that they support President Trump. And I understand in this tribal world that we're in now that if you support President Trump, that's the worldview of the people that hate President Trump. I get it. But the reality is maybe you just support President Trump. And the 37% right now in the polls or the people that voted for him 2 years ago, I don't know. If you want to dismiss all those people as saying they're racist and they're haters or whatever, okay, that's fine. But I think that's wrong.
You're listening to our celebration of Jeff Wagner's 25-year career at WTMJ.
Creative Planning presents Rethink Your Money with John Hagenson, Saturday afternoon at 1. At Creative Planning, we offer full-service, comprehensive wealth management services through our in-house team of wealth managers, accountants, and attorneys to integrate all aspects of your financial life. Get all the expertise, all the advice you need, all in-house. Visit creativeplanning.com. That's creativeplanning.com.
If you can't get a good night's sleep, let me ask you, are you breathing well? Because if you're snoring or waking up each night with a stuffed up nose, or frustrated with your CPAP mask, the root of your sleep problem lies in your breathing triangle. And if any one of those passages isn't working, you won't sleep well. And there's no mattress, pill, or other gimmick that can fix that. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. A recipe for a good night's sleep starts with an open airway. Now, there are devices that can help solve snoring or sleep apnea problems. If you walk into a sleep center, know you'll walk out with a CPAP. And you might find other options elsewhere, but the simple truth is, if your nose doesn't work properly, no device will help. Only at Advent will you find every effective snoring and sleep apnea solution, along with a world-class team that can get your nose working properly again.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Don't let the snow get you down. It's time to leave winter behind and embark on your warm weather escape with Fox World Travel. We're your gateway to tropical paradise featuring sun-soaked destinations like Hawaii, the Caribbean, Mexico, and more. Our vacation travel experts collaborate with the finest travel partners, including Apple Vacations, Holland America, Princess, Royal Caribbean, Delta Vacations, Globus, and more. Let our seasoned travel experts handle the details. Ready for a snow break? Visit foxworldtravel.com or call 866-GO-FOX-GO.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Jeff Wagner's 25-year career at WTMJ comes to an end. For the rest of the year, dive back in the archives with us as we bring you the best of Jeff Wagner throughout his career. You're listening to the best of Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Here's the story I want to talk to you about starting off with. It comes from Maryland, but it doesn't matter. This could happen anywhere. The guy is a veteran, an Army veteran, 7 years in the Army, did a stint in Afghanistan, and his name is Joe Morisi. And he works for CVS, the pharmacy chain, big pharmacy chain. You know, we've got CVS's around here. And he's into management at CVS. As a matter of fact, what they've done is CVS had hired him to manage this store in the Maryland area, and they had actually helped him relocate. So he's come here to be the manager at this particular CVS store. Well, here's the story. What happens is, while he's in the store, two men come into the store and they run to the pharmacy area. They jump over the counter and tell the pharmacist to open the safe. Right? So that's the instructions. The veteran sees this going on. You know, he's the manager. He's another portion of the store, but he picks up that there's this robbery that's going in place. He said, my main concern was that just, you know, make sure they're safe in the building. So I react out of instinct. So here's what he says he does. He says, okay, once he sees this going on, he runs to the cashier and he tells the cashier to call 911 because the store was being robbed. Okay, then he sees these two guys who have now gotten into the safe, and they've taken a whole bunch of prescription drugs, and they're starting to head out the door. He says one of the two is carrying a screwdriver. As they come towards him in the aisle, he says that one of them tries to hit him, punches at him, but he blocks it. What he had done before this is he had apparently shepherded a couple of the customers out of the store, and then he had locked the door. So the thieves aren't going to be able to get out. So then he's coming the other way down the aisle. They're trying to get out. The doors are locked. He's moved the customers out, and one of the guys takes a swing at him. Well, he's an Army veteran of Afghanistan. He blocks it. And then there is a struggle. One of the two says that we've got a gun, shoot him. Well, he says, I don't think you've got a gun. And it turns out, like I say, to be a screwdriver. So he disarms one of the bad guys. So there's this ongoing struggle. Ultimately, the two bad guys are able to get away. They're able to force the door open and run away. Right. Well, all right, a couple minutes later, the police arrive, and the guy that's the head manager for the store arrives, or the regional manager or whatever. And, you know, they say, what happened? And he says, well, this is it. I saw the store was being robbed. I got the customers out. I had I hit the woman behind the counter, the cashier, called 911. I locked the door, and I went to catch these guys so they weren't getting out with prescription drugs. At which point in time, his boss says, well, we appreciate what you did, but you're getting fired. We got to fire you. And he says, what do you mean you got to fire me? He says, well, no, you were wrong to confront these people. And he says, well, wait. I got everybody out of the store, or at least I got the customers out of the store. The employees weren't in danger. It was just me and these two people who were stealing prescription drugs. And yeah, I tried to stop them. Manager, the owner, the guy's boss says, sorry, you're gone. Can't have you doing this. All right. Now I know the policy of the store is not to endanger the customers. But at the same time, here you have these two folks, these two robbers, stealing prescription drugs. The manager has 911 called, confronts the robbers after getting customers out, and tries to stop them. Does he deserve to be fired, or should they give him a medal?
More of the best of Jeff Wagner after the break. Get inside the mind of Mark Tauscher.
I feel like I'm a smart person most of the time.
See the world from his perspective.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss. And in this case, I don't know if I'd say it was bliss, but I was definitely ignorant.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, every day at 7:50.
I kind of went with the attitude of don't even have your phone with you. They can't call you, and they can't cut you.
Mark Tauscher on Wisconsin's Morning News. Presented by your Wisconsin Chevy dealers. Hello Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and Kohler Services.
The pain was so bad I could barely walk. And now after stem cell treatment, I run marathons. Now, this is an exaggeration, but I do hear about unbelievable miracle outcomes, and I have to ask, do you really believe them? If they were true, these biological treatments wouldn't even have to be advertised. Truth is, stem cell effectiveness is nowhere near 100%. It's expensive, and it doesn't last. At Rejuvenex, our FDA-approved pharmacological treatments ease inflammation and reduce pain. They're precisely administered to where your pain lives, and they work. Will the pain reduction last forever? No. But in some cases, relief has lasted as long as 24 months, and in most cases, insurance has paid for the treatments entirely. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, where we can alleviate your pain and rejuvenate your life.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days. Heck, a lot of big banks issue pre-approval letters using soft credit pulls instead of real credit reports. Do you really want to compete in today's still low inventory market with a soft credit pull and a pre-approval that's silent on 2 of the 3 critical elements of a mortgage approval? A rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet not only verifies your credit with a real credit report, we also verify your income and down payment, and then issue a letter with a $2,000 guarantee to back it up. And now, AccuNet is issuing property-specific pre-approvals that often come with this sweet phrase: no appraisal required. That's right, AccuNet may be able to issue your pre-approval at or above the seller's asking price without needing an appraisal. Today's home market is still a metaphorical knife fight. Your bank is offering you, well, a pocket knife. AccuNet is Crocodile Dundee. Now that's a knife, mate. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Hey, Jeff, former producer Sam here. Just wanted to congratulate you on 25 years here at WTMJ, and thank you for being so open and kind and showing me the ropes around here for about 4 months. Short but sweet. So, yeah, go live it up in Florida with Fran, and you will be missed. Thanks so much.
It's 12:19. Jeff Wagner, 620 WTMJ. All right, the CVS statement about this says, in the unfortunate event of a robbery at one of our stores, the safety and well-being of our customers and employees is always our highest priority. We do not comment on specific security policies as we do not want to undermine them, and due to our employment privacy policies, we are unable to comment on Mr. Morrissey. Well, Mr. Morrissey is commenting. He says, hey, I got people out of the store. We called 911, and I saw 2 of these punks trying to get out the door with a bunch of prescription drugs, and I decided I was not going to just stand passively by and let them leave. One of them took a punch at me, and yeah, we struggled back. I was able to stop them from getting out of the door with most of the stolen pills. I was able to disarm them. Yeah, I think I did the right thing. CVS has fired him. Let's start with Mike in Milwaukee. Mike, you're first. Good afternoon.
This upsets me very greatly. This guy should be commended for his bravery. He shouldn't have been fired. And I'd love to know what store it is so I can call and try to get this guy his job back. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, this is a store out of Beltsville, Maryland. So, but I mean, it could have, but it's their policy. I mean, he made, and I guess I understand. I mean, they think that, well, we don't want, the worst thing would have happened is we don't want to have somebody like shooting up a store and killing a bunch of customers. So here we just want to, go ahead, let them take the stuff. Well, in this case, the manager, I think, did everything he could to make sure that wasn't going to happen. They called 911, they got the customers out of the store, and then he decided he just wasn't going to let these punks, run away with the prescription narcotics. And you get fired for that?
That's ridiculous. The guy is a hero, and he should get his job back, and he should be commended for what he did.
Thanks for the call. I understand that you've got these policies, and I'm sure that the policies are we would rather allow a bunch of pillheads to come in and rob us and then go out on the streets than risk, one of our customers getting hurt. But in this particular case, I think it was a measured sort of decision. There was no question that there was no customers that were in danger. The guy, who's a 7-year Army veteran, served in Afghanistan, makes the evaluation that they don't have a gun, they've got a screwdriver, and I can take these 2. And after making sure that the police have been notified and that the customers are all safe and that there's no employees in danger, he decides he's going to try to detain them. And you lose your job for that? Let's talk to Rick in Oshkosh. Rick, good afternoon.
Good morning. I like your program.
Thank you, sir.
I'm a veteran, and I know that veterans are trained
whether you're Navy, military, whatever the military, Navy, Marines, or whichever branch you're serving for, you're trained. And once you've been there, you know that what has to be done in this case is you fire the manager, his boss, and this guy, you bring him in and you put him in his place. Now, this guy will be the head of, or raise him up in management even further. Take him away from that scenario altogether now, and increase his wages, double his wages, triple his wages.
And let him give instructions. Well, thanks for the call, Ray. I mean, look here. If what he did is apparently a violation of policy, the CVS policy is, here, come rob us, take the prescription drugs, run out, we'll let you go. All right, I appreciate that, and maybe that's a policy that the lawyers have developed, and they think it's best in the overall course of liability because they're afraid of one of the robbers hurting a customer and then buying a big lawsuit. Okay, so I understand all that. But at the same time, that's not what happened here. If the manager was out of policy for attempting to, what I think most of us would agree was do the right thing and try to, catch the robbers before they get out on the street with the prescription narcotics. Okay, if he was wrong in confronting them, all right, isn't this one where you take him aside and say, we're sorry, we understand that you were well-intentioned, you had 911 called, that's great, you got the customers to safety, that's great, but, our policy is we want you to stand by and watch this theft go down. You didn't do that. Do you really need to fire him for that? Can't you just say, okay, next time there's one of these robberies, we'd like to ask you to respond in a different way. Don't confront the attackers, even though, you were able in this particular case to take on two of them, to disarm them, and ultimately to stop the prescription drugs from being stolen. All right, just don't do it again. Do you need to fire him for this? Let's talk to Janet in Brookfield. Janet, good afternoon.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Janet.
This happened to me once. I was a branch manager, and we were in the middle of a robbery, and one of my employees, after the robber left the bank, ran out of the bank and chased the robber. Eventually, the police did catch the robber, but I had a stern talk with him, and then I was on the hot seat for not firing him on the spot. But he also was a guy that wanted to be a cop and was in training, so that's the only reason I cut him slack. But the training that they give him is you let the robber go. The police take care of it. And you are not the police. You are a bank employee.
Right.
So, but I was on the hot seat for not firing him on the spot. But due to his circumstances, and he was in training, I realized that, he had that instinct. That's why he was going to be a cop. So.
Right. And Jen, I guess I think that's the right way to handle it. Like I just said, if you want to, you bring the guy aside and say, all right, we recognize that you might disagree with this policy. Most people that hear it probably disagree with this policy, and you are out of policy. Don't let it happen again. I guess that's how I would handle it. Just don't let it happen again, as opposed to saying, we're automatically going to fire you. Could this have broken really bad? Yeah, but it ended up not. And I guess I would say keep your job and thanks for trying, but just let them take the dope next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Would the bank you were working at, was it an armed robbery? They come with guns and stuff?
Yeah, it was a hostile one. So yeah.
You still have? It had to be a scary experience.
Well, it's always very scary, but it's even scarier when you're watching an employee run out the door.
Right, to try to chase him down. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I was totally responsible, and that's not a good feeling to see somebody that's been trained take off after a robber.
Got it. No, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. 414-799-1620. And I understand there's all sorts of reasons for that. I mean, in Janet's case, it's an armed robbery. She doesn't want to see the bad guys turn around and shoot and kill the employee. So I get that. I understand the reason they have these policies. It is the policy. The guy was out of policy, but does he need to be out of his job? Let's talk to, Rob in Waukesha. Rob, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jeff.
Hi, Rob.
I am a veteran, and I think this guy should not have been fired, maybe suspended for a couple of days, reprimanded, something like that, just because he did break the policy.
Right.
But you got to look at his background. Plus, you're talking if there's narcotics involved. What a nightmare for the pharmacy to go through and have to justify where all these pills went to.
Oh, right.
I think this guy evaluated. He knew what he was doing. He has the experience.
Yeah.
And the company should be glad that someone is working for him like that.
Yeah, and that's what he says. He says, look, I was in Afghanistan. I just reacted. We called 911. I got the customers out of the store, and then these guys are running at me, and we get into a struggle. I just reacted, and that costs you your job. Hey, thanks for calling. I mean, I just think CVS is wrong in this case. Do they have a right to have their policy? Yeah, I get it. Is there legal reasons why they have it? Yes. Was the guy out of policy? Yes. Should he be out of a job? Heck no.
Ring in the new year with the ultimate timeless gift, a diamond from Diamonds Direct. Whether you're ready to pop the question or celebrating a lifetime of love in 2024, Diamonds Direct can make this New Year's one to remember forever. Diamonds Direct is the area's destination for exquisite diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and our nationwide price guarantee ensures you'll get the best value, period. To showcase that spectacular diamond, we have literally thousands of designer settings from all the top names like Tacori, Verragio, Simon G, A. Jaffe, and many more. And our experts will guide you every step of the way with the education you want and the respect you deserve. Engagement rings, wedding bands, eternity bands, fashion rings. At Diamonds Direct, we specialize in the ultimate symbol of love, and we welcome the opportunity to celebrate with you. So start the new year with some new excitement, new hope, and some new bling. Diamonds Direct on Mayfair Road in front of Mayfair Mall. Proud to call Milwaukee home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Out with the old. Ken Michaels Furniture and Milwaukee Mattress is having a year-end clearance sale. Save 20% on floor model mattresses. Shop discounted items at 50 to 70% off. Get closeout deals on area rugs. All furniture on the floor is marked down. If you want spectacular savings on the best furniture you'll ever own, stop in today at Ken Michaels Furniture on Highway 100 in Greenfield, Capitol Drive in Brookfield, or our downtown factory showroom. Year-end clearance sale ends soon. Do you love the simplicity and enduring quality of Scandinavian design? Then the year-end clearance sale at Ken Michaels Furniture is for you. Inspired by tradition and built to last, Fjords brings the best of modern Norwegian furniture design to your home. Save up to 20% on these ergonomic recliners engineered with comfort in mind. Available with manual or power options. Stop in today at Ken Michaels Furniture on Capitol Drive in Brookfield, Highway 100 in Greenfield, or our downtown factory showroom. Sale ends soon.
A 25-year radio career coming to an end. You're listening to the best of Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Breaking news, of course, is that Kyle Rittenhouse found not guilty on all 5 counts. Right now, not a huge presence at the Kenosha County Courthouse. There's a number of people, dozens. We're not talking hundreds. We're not talking thousands. There's maybe a couple dozen people that are gathered on the courthouse steps. You just heard some comments from Jacob Blake's uncle, who was viewing this in racial sort of terms and things like that. Right now there is a huge police presence. Like I say, we're getting reports that that Governor Evers is looking at, again, the National Guard, keep in mind, has been in Milwaukee County or Waukesha County. My guess is that you are going to see a larger police presence that's going to be brought into and deployed around Kenosha, just again, as a way of deterring anybody that might show up and might be inclined to, act out in a way that is inappropriate. I mean, right now you're not seeing any of that, and hopefully cooler heads will in fact prevail. In this particular case is perhaps not as volatile and not as charged as perhaps some of the other cases that have been around. But nevertheless, I think, everybody from the perspective of law enforcement is committed to making sure that law enforcement does not lose control like they did in the 2 nights preceding what happened that 3rd night of the riots, looting, protests, whatever you want to call it, that led to the entire thing with Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse has now been discharged. For people who wonder, what do you do with the mistrial motions and things like that, there won't be rulings on him, because the fact that the jury has found him not guilty means he cannot be tried on these charges again, so there's no reason to rule on the various mistrial motions that are in fact out there. So we won't hear any more about that. As I said a couple of minutes ago with Eric Bilstat, this isn't the end of the proceedings involving Kyle Rittenhouse, because what's inevitably going to happen is there will be civil lawsuits. I think some have perhaps already been filed. There'll be discovery matters and things like that, and there will be a different burden of proof in a civil trial than in a criminal trial. In addition, I think one of the things that needs to happen after this case is I think particularly the legislature needs to take a sort of a tougher look at certain laws. The one count that was thrown out by the judge was a charge of possessing a firearm illegally by a minor. And the judge, and I'm not sure, I don't necessarily believe the judge was incorrect at this, but the law is kind of a mess. The law says if you're 16 or 17 years old, you can't go armed with a dangerous weapon unless it's in a hunting or a trap shooting or something like that situation. But because of a technicality perhaps in the law, some unclear wording in the statute, the judge found that didn't apply as long as the gun wasn't a sawed-off rifle or a sawed-off shotgun. I think the legislature needs to take a hard look at that and say, okay, what is really going on here? Do we really want to have a situation where 16 and 17-year-olds can go wandering down the streets, carrying loaded firearms? So I think that's an issue that you might want to take a look at. And as we will perhaps discuss later on, I think maybe this raises the whole question of how broad it is self-defense. And there's all sorts of different states apply the concept of self-defense in different ways. In Wisconsin, once you raise the issue of self-defense, it becomes the burden of the prosecution to essentially disprove that beyond a reasonable doubt. And as I've been saying for the last year, that is in the light of the facts of this particular case, that is a very difficult standard to meet. Other states treat self-defense differently. Some states say it's an affirmative defense, and if you raise it, you then have to prove it. You assume the burden. I think maybe there will be a discussion moving forward about, do we need to take a look at the self-defense laws and things like this? Do we need to change some of the standards? Or is the lesson of Kyle Rittenhouse going to be that you can show up in public situations armed and then end up getting involved in situations and then shooting people who aren't in fact armed and then using self-defense? Is self-defense the concept too broad in Wisconsin? And I think that's one of the things that people are going to be looking at as well if we try to figure out where we're going to be moving forward. We have been talking about various aspects of the Rittenhouse case since the incident occurred in August of 2020. The jury has now spoken. The jury has said the state did not prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt, and Kyle Rittenhouse is free.
You're listening to our celebration of Jeff Wagner's 25-year career at WTMJ.
Hey, this is Steve Scafidi for Advent. I had some snoring issues that kept my wife up at night. That led to poor sleep and a lot of tired mornings on the radio, and nobody wants that, trust me. But it's simply, my nose wasn't working the way it should. I decided to go to Advent for a quick 30-minute visit, one of their great facilities, talk to a bunch of their doctors. They really put me at ease. After a really simple sleep study at home, in my own bed, they determined the root cause of my problem had to do with my sinuses and nasal passages in my breathing triangle. I didn't even know I had a breathing triangle, so I went to see Advent. After a short procedure done in office, I'm back to breathing well, and my wife and I are both back to sleeping through the whole night. The best sleep we've ever had, that could be you. If you struggle with restless nights like I did, take the time to see how Advent can help. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your life and your nights a whole lot better, go to AdventKnows.com, schedule an appointment today. Because Advent knows, when you breathe well, you live better.
Losing sleep lately? The job, the house, the headlines, or investments? How about the feeling your investment partner isn't a partner at all? They might be operating in someone's best interest, but that someone isn't you. It's time for Annex Wealth Management. It's easy. Head to AnnexWealth.com, click the Get Started button. We work in your best interest as a fiduciary. That commitment runs so deep, we put it in writing. Does your advisor do that? Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management. Start at AnnexWealth.com.
When severe weather hits and the power goes out, do you have a plan?
For reliable power and peace of mind, propane can do that. It only takes about 10 seconds for a propane-powered generator to restore power to your home. So no matter what Mother Nature has in store, you know you're prepared. Learn more at WIPGA.org. This message is sponsored by your local propane provider and the Wisconsin Propane Education and Research Council.
Join the Brewers at the all-new Winter Warm-Up Fan Event Saturday, January 13th. See your favorite Brewers player in a fun-filled live show and get early access to purchase opening day tickets. Don't miss out on the fun. Get tickets at brewers.com/Winter Warm-Up.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credit, so you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is, with complete confidence, stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Congratulations to Jeff Wagner on your 25-year radio career. You're listening to the best of Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Music mogul Kanye West gets on the Wisconsin ballot. Now, Eric Bilstead, what would you say Kanye West is most famous for?
Well, he does have some good records, but a lot of people now know him as a rapper who's married to Mrs. Kardashian.
Right, he is Mr. Kim Kardashian. Absolutely. That I think is right. He's very successful, very, very wealthy, but I think when you say Kanye West to most people, you think, oh, he's the guy that's married to Kim Kardashian and part of that just whole reality show world that's out there. Yep. Well, Kanye West wants to be the president. Well, I don't know if he really wants to be the president. Maybe it's just, again, this great publicity stunt. But Kanye West is trying to get on the ballot. And if you haven't been following the story, it's kind of interesting here. Now, keep in mind, Donald Trump won Wisconsin last time around by like 22,000 votes. So that in a state where you're going to have well over 1 million votes cast. That's a very, very small margin. So if we were to assume, and I'm not saying I necessarily buy this, but if we're to assume that Wisconsin is going to be as close in 2020 as it was in 2016, anything can really have an impact on the ballot. So Kanye West, for reasons that are still a little bit unclear, he's running for president. To get on the ballot in Wisconsin to be president, you need 2,000 signatures. So you have to have 2,000 people that say, I support this. All right? So that's the background. As it turns out, you had Republican operatives who were helping get signatures to get Kanye West on the Wisconsin ballot. Now, why? Well, the answer is obvious, because I don't know if it's correct thinking, but the thinking is, gee, Kanye West, if he's on the ballot, there might be some people who would otherwise vote for Joe Biden who will vote for Kanye West. Now, I don't know. Again, that might be overthinking this, and that might be like too clever by half. But all right, that's kind of what the thinking is going on. But again, keep in mind, in an election where President Trump won last time by 22,000 votes, if you, I don't know, get 20,000 people or more who vote for Kanye West instead of Joe Biden, theoretically, that could have an impact. Again, I'm not saying I buy into this, but this is the thinking. So you have Republican operatives who were helping get Kanye West on the ballot. The Democratic Party of Wisconsin does not want Kanye West on the ballot because they're worried that he's going to siphon some votes away from Joe Biden. So Republicans want him on the ballot. Democrats don't want him on the ballot, which brings us to the State Elections Commission. Now, the laws in Wisconsin are extremely clear. Like I say, you need 2,000 valid signatures to get yourself on the ballot. In addition, those signatures, under the law, need to be turned in by 5 o'clock p.m. in what would have been last Tuesday. Okay, so, or the previous Tuesday. So that's it. They have to be in by Tuesday a week ago, and they have to have 2,000 signatures. So that's kind of the story behind it. And there's been some thing of, if they look through the ballot signatures, and this almost always happens, they find some signatures of Mickey Mouse and things like that. But what happens is, so the elections board, they review the signatures, and they turned in like 2,400 and some signatures, and even after striking the questionable ones, there's still more than 2,000 signatures valid that are there to get him on the ballot. Well, here's the problem. Like I say, the law says that the signatures need to be turned in by 5 o'clock p.m. a week ago Tuesday. Well, in order to be counted, for reasons that still escape me, the people showed up at the courthouse to turn in the signatures, and they didn't get there until like a minute or two after 5. Now, there's a little bit of an argument whether they got there at 5 o'clock and 30 seconds or 5:01 or 5:08 or whatever, but they didn't get there by 5 o'clock. And the law does say pretty clearly it has to be in by 5 o'clock. So now they have enough valid signatures to be on the ballot, but they have failed to get there in a timely fashion based on this technicality. So what happened yesterday is the State Elections Commission staff, these are the bureaucrats, they issued a paper saying, we believe Kanye West should not be put on the ballot because of the failure to turn the signatures in by 5 o'clock. All right, and that's now what the Elections Commission is going to be deciding. Do you deny him access to the ballot based on what I think you could argue is a very, very hyper-technical failure? I mean, there was somebody in the clerk's office, they turned him in, but they were a minute or two late. So the question is, all right, what do we accomplish? If in Wisconsin our history has been that we try to bend over backwards to allow people ballot access, to get them on the ballot, even though Kanye West isn't going to win the Wisconsin election. He's not going to get any electoral votes. But historically, in this state, we have bent over backwards to try to find ways to put people on the ballot if they have enough valid signatures. Now, you might remember earlier this year, 2 people running to be the Milwaukee County executive got tossed off the ballot because they failed to turn in enough valid signatures.
More of the best of Jeff Wagner after the break. Your weekly Bucks breakdown is back.
They want to win equally as bad as I do.
Bucks Weekly on WTMJ.
Now he joins a team where you have, as he has put it, the best player in the league.
And a new year brings new faces.
You'll see that I've gotten better year after year after year after year.
Get the latest news, analysis, and insight on your Milwaukee Bucks all season long. Bucks Weekly with Justin Garcia every Monday night at 8 on WTMJ. And catch the podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
If you like using debit over credit, don't you think it's time you also get rewarded with Discover Cashback Debit? Check out eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
Home is where the heart is. Family meals, laughter, and warm memories. As your local contractor that's been around for 40 years, J&J Contractors has been helping families create new memories for generations to come by reimagining your kitchen space for baking holiday cookies with the family or opening up your lower level for friend and neighbor entertainment. Whatever the project is, J&J Contractors does it with top-of-the-line craftsmanship. Just Google J&J Contractors to see their reviews for impeccable work and outstanding communication.
Hi, this is Wayne Larrabee, the voice of Green Bay football. You know, fans count on me to make the right call every time, and I can continue to do that thanks to Summit Eye Care of Wisconsin. When my vision began to drift, my eye doctor said Summit Eye Care was the best place to go. Using the latest adjustable implants, the doctors at Summit were able to fine-tune my vision. In fact, my vision is now the best it's ever been. Summit Eye Care was the right call to help me see all the action on game days.
To schedule